points are causing panic, baby. Let's do it.
Hola de raza, gfunkyboxing, HCP Uncensored. I'm joined by my co-host every week, D-Style Boxing. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I know the feeling.
I'm saying, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's I'm ready to go. I'm looking like a boxing thumbnail. You know what I mean?
Hey, credit to the Bills, man. They're doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? Chicano Prophet, what's up, bro? How you doing?
What's happening, fellas? HCP, doing good, man.
Well, here's what I'm going to do real quick. We have somebody that's trying to jump on. I don't know if you're for real or not, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here, buddy. So there's my email at the bottom.
Can we do a deal with them, by the way? Can we, say, because G-Funk could see you in the background, right? So if you could show your face, then we could let you on.
Yeah, you got to put your camera on if you're going to come on. There's my email, bro. Just email me.
Simple everyday
email me. Yeah, email me whatever you want. 3 little dots, whatever. I'll put the link in there. Go ahead and do your thing. But anyway, yeah, man, we got kind of a slow week, a couple weeks off from boxing, even though we had a lot of good fights that we just seen, man, in the last month. And we started off the year really good, man. But, hey, I jumped up to 500 subscribers this week. Man, never thought I would get there, man, because when I first started this channel, I never really pushed for subscribers like that. It was just to talk boxing with people, but now I feel like, there's a duty to be done. There's a lot of boxing channels, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of them are good. A lot of them push a lot of bad things. They take fans. I think that they really take the casual fan and kind of manipulate them into thinking things that are going on that aren't really going on. And we're gonna get to that, later in the show. But I just want to say a few things. I want to say what's up to the chat before I go into my little speech here. But we got A-Rod here. We got Run PMC. What's up, man? Glad you guys are here. Got a few people down here. Oh, look at this guy. He finally shows up, man. I don't know where you've been, but, we've been looking for you, bro. All right.
He's always on Uncensored. I think 92IQ doesn't like me.
Yeah. We got EJ. EJ, what's up, man? I think this is my first time seeing you here. What's going on? Ignorant Boxing is here. Yeah, I like that, man. And Sonteo Media. Okay. You say that you sent me a message. All right, I'm going to check right now and see what's up. I see nothing here, man. All right, there you go. I'll give you your time. You had an issue with me talking about Dante's Boxing Nation in my last video. So here on Uncensored, we give you guys an opportunity. That's what we do here, man. We don't mind talking with you guys. We have a difference of opinion.
Hey, 92IQ says he was born ready. But is he ready to come on the show, or is he just saying he was born ready?
We'll see, man. So while we await the guest,
happy new DJ Boxing Live, by the way. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah.
Ignorant Boxing.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. I want to say this, man. I want to give some credit where credit is due for getting where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I first want to give a shout out to my boy, Mr. Pound for Pound. Him and I, we grew up together. We're like brothers. We consider each other brothers. He's the one that started me doing this. You know what I'm saying? He got me going way back in 2011 when I decided to turn on the camera and talk some boxing on the internet. So I want to give him some credit. Obviously, I got to give my man here, D-Style, a ton of credit as well. I made my comeback. I was gone for a couple of years. I made my comeback. And he decided to have me come on and do shows, and we've been going ever since, man. I see you in the background, bro. Give me 1 minute. Actually, you know what? No, I'll just throw you on real quick. Hold on. We'll have you come on real quick here.
Sounds good to me.
Can you guys hear me?
All right.
Loud
we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. So, what's going on, bro? What's your name? Max Case?
Yeah.
Is that what you want us to call you?
I mean, it's Max for short.
Okay. Just want to make sure, we're good.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me.
Hey, that's what we
What's
do
up,
here,
man?
man. So, you had an issue with what I said about Dante? Is that what it is or what?
No, not specifically, but I just wanted to know where exactly was the lie coming in, because as he's doing a lot of the videos, and I noticed that in the comment section there was a lot of discontent toward the LDBC. As he's doing the videos, he's citing he's not necessarily he's citing the sources for where the information is coming from, like the people, and he does a lot of audio footage, and I think that the content is covered. And I just wanted to know where exactly was the misinformation come in, because the way the argument was framed, it seemed like you guys think that he's coming after some sort of specific disinformation campaign about Teofimo Lopez and about Hispanic fighters in general. And like, and I don't think that's the narrative that anyone in the LDBC is pushing. I don't think that's a narrative. I think, like, for example, if you're saying that all the issues we raised with the franchise championship with Vasily Lomachenko, you would have to say they were being anti-Ukrainian too. So it's just like, I wanted to know what exactly was going on, because they've been pretty even. Like, for example, if they gave Vasily Lomachenko a pass for the franchise championship, then I could see how that would make some sense. But they came after him for it. They came after Canelo for it. And now they're coming at Teofimo Lopez for it. No one has ever said that. Yeah, no one has ever said that Lopez was a bad fighter. No one ever said that Lopez sucked. No one ever said that Lopez didn't deserve to win. We're just talking about what's happening with the politics. It's never been about Lopez personally. So I don't. Oh, yeah,
Go ahead.
Just really quick, just so let's keep it very direct. We're talking about Dante's Boxing Nation, right? So we're not going to bundle up a bunch of other people, because then we're going to go through this tree that's never going to end, and we're going to make it about other people that have nothing to do with the topic. So we're going to talk about Dante's Boxing Nation specifically. That's it. Okay. Right? Because that's what it was directed towards, right? So let's do that first. Second.
So here's what I'll do then.
No, but hold on, people. Let me make my second point really quick, right?
Go ahead.
It's the insinuation, and that, at least from what I saw in the video, is specifically because if I were to go down the line, there's times where Dante has lied, and we have video evidence of that. Okay, and G Funky will show you that it's an undeniable lie. That I believe Dante knows better, and something he said. But since it's not related to this specific issue, I want to first say this. He tries to make it out as if Teofimo Lopez is trying to price himself out of the fight against Devin Haney, right? When all he's doing is saying, look, we're going to make this amount fighting our mandatory in Cambozas, who, by the way, earned his mandatory spot. It's no different, by the way. It's the IBF. The IBF they take mandatories very serious. And Errol Spence himself fought Ocampo, his mandatory, okay, before unified with anybody else himself, right? But before he pursued any unifications, he had to fight his mandatory, because I'm sure he himself knows that the IBF doesn't play games. And regardless of anything, out of all the bodies, I do believe that they respect their mandatories more than anybody. The IBF is the one mandating Teofimo Lopez to fight Cambozas. Cambozas is going to fight in Australia. Okay, the fight's being proposed for Australia. That's where the money's coming from. We have this information out there, not necessarily by Dante that I know of, but that there's no money being made in Australia because there's no fans in Australia, when Australia was actually the first country to have crowds, right? Devin Haney's dad specifically came out, I'm not sure where it was, saying that there's no crowds in Australia. It's just empirically not true, right? So now, if you're going to fight somebody and you're going to make a good amount of money, like 7-8 million, right? And someone else wants to fight you, isn't it fair to say, look, if you want me to go past my mandatory, you got to make it worth it for me. So all they're saying is you have to, at the very least, give me around the same amount that I'm going to make fighting Cambozas. That is the only thing that was being suggested here. It wasn't some random magic number they threw out at all. Okay, they wanted more than the amount that the Haney's saying that they have for the fight, which is $4 million. All right. But in this case, they're saying, look, we're going to make this much against Cambozas. You got to offer us more, or we'll see you down the line. Now, from what I understand, they are going to send an offer to the Haney's. Whether Haney takes it or not is another deal. Whether it's a good offer or not, none of us know yet, because none of us have seen the offer. I think that's fair. But to insinuate that Hearn looked at them like they're crazy, whether you want to label that a lie or not, you got to admit, there was some color added to that, because when you play the real live video, he does say,
I can do that.
I can do it for you. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to kind of say that.
And here's what I'll say before I let you respond to that. I don't know if you actually watched the video that I made or not, but here's what Dante painted. This is the picture that Dante painted on his channel. Check it out.
Right, when Canelo fought Caleb Smith, you see T.O. Jr. talking to Eddie Hearn, and all of a sudden it's Senior that jumps in and he tells Eddie Hearn, give us $10 million and we'll fight Devin Haney tomorrow. And this was Eddie Hearn's reaction and face expression when T.O. Senior said that to him. He heard Senior say 10 million, and then he said, how much? He said, give us 10 million. And here the image is right here. You see Eddie Hearn, he just takes a step back and he just looks at T.O. You see now.
So that's definitely not what happened, because here's what really went down.
I'll take over the zone.
Give us 10 million. We fight Devin Haney tomorrow. Give us 10 million. We fight Devin tomorrow.
Devin, how much?
10 million. Okay. You can do that?
Oh, shit.
You could even hear the guy who was holding the camera say, oh, shit. Like he's said he can give him 10. So, I mean, it's not like I chopped anything up that he said. He just refused to cover the part where Eddie Hearn said, okay. I think that's not covering the full story. That's not the whole truth like he claims to give. So you can go ahead and respond now, man.
Absolutely. I can completely understand that. There is a portion, because I've seen that video, the whole video on not only Fight Hype, but also on Dante's Boxing Nation. But the thing about it is that Teofimo, the situation is they're talking about just general purse. And that's been the conversation as far as I'm concerned, because as you all know, that potential pay-per-view numbers and gate are things that can't readily be predicted exactly, because you have to sell out and then you have to have the pay-per-view buys and all that stuff is calculated afterwards. Now, Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn have both said, on, if you guys read Boxing Scene, they've been quoted by other journalists saying that that's most likely not going to happen. And the reason why Dante probably capitalized on this is because though Devin Haney is independent, they do have an existing relationship with the Zone, because you see a lot of Devin Haney's fights on the Zone's YouTube. Obviously, that's a lot of legal obligations that they would have to have, so they do have a relationship. It would make all of the sense in the world for Eddie to try to make that deal happen, even though Devin Haney's seemingly independent, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Even Bob Arum have said, because we all know the top-ranked business model, that's most likely not going to happen, and he's going to need to fight Gambosas, because whether people want to say it or not, Devin Haney represents a top challenge. Now, if they ever fight and Tio knocks him out, that's done. A lot of people say Devin Haney's pillow-fisted, this and that. That's fine. Those are opinions. But we all know that Devin Haney represents a challenge. And Bob Arum is not just about to take 3 belts and go ahead and let all that walk out the door, which is why the Cambosas thing was already pretty much set in stone before anything else got said. But, it's very difficult to go from a general purse of 1 million to 10 times that for easier work. Like that doesn't really make any sense.
Where are you getting the 1 million, if you don't mind me asking? Where are you getting that amount?
That information, when I looked up the purse, when I looked up the purses for the fights, that's what came up on Sportex, and that's what came up on there was another site that I reviewed that was what the purse was.
For which fight? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand. Are you talking about the Lomachenko fight, or
yeah, specifically the Lomachenko fight, the 1.25 million for the purse, and of course what he got on the back end, because it wasn't pay-per-view. I don't know what other percentages that he had. But it wasn't on pay-per-view. It was included with the regular ESPN package for the top rank fight. So asking for 10 times that on a purse for a supposedly easier opponent, that seems crazy. Like that seems like out of nowhere. And can we confirm that Cambosa's actually giving them the 10 million? Like, can we confirm?
So you say you want it confirmed that Cambosa's is gonna give them a certain amount of money. Like, are you doubting that someone who is popular in Australia could bring in a good amount of money and that they can negotiate that, especially when all the belts are on the line?
I'm saying that as purse only. If you take away pay-per-view, if you take away gate, purse only, I strongly doubt that for purse only, it's going to be 10 million flat.
But why do we have to base it on purse only? Well, why can't it be based on everything they're going to make? That's what matters. Take home money is what matters, right?
Well, because we can't. Well, because we can predict, but we can't be exact. So a lot of the info. That's why a lot of the pay-per-view and the gate is worked out in percentages, because we can't actually predict for certainty what's going to happen. Like, you can have 10,000 tickets, but not all 10,000 tickets may sell. And you're absolutely right that wasn't mentioned on Dante's Nation about Australia only really quarantining for 45 days, because they've been open. They've been open much quicker than the United States, and that information from Haney's camp wasn't actually communicated. So I definitely agree with that. So I was never doubting that there could be a live gate in Australia, because there was a live gate in Texas. So, like, with the Errol Spence and Danny Garcia situation. Yeah. So I was never doubting that at all. Now, as far as George Kambosos' star power in Australia, that's an opinion. So I have no opinion on that at all. But for an IBF mandatory, even if all the belts are on the line, and because the pay-per-view, if it's even going to be on pay-per-view, and the gate are currently unpredictable, I strongly doubt that the purse flat is going to be $10 million. I would personally be shocked if it was 10 million flat purse and then percentages from that point on.
Well, here's what I'll respond to that is he said 10 million because he said they were offered around that. Teofimo was on our show last week. He never specifically said the amount. He said it was around. Yes, I'm sorry, Teofimo Senior. So we don't even know if it's 10 million that Kambosos is offering them. He said it's around that, but again, it's negotiations. You know, if you can squeeze more money out of Eddie Hearn to make a fight with Devin Haney, then he'll say, hey, you step aside Kambosos, give him money, whatever it is they got to do. You stay here, you fight Devin Haney, you make a lot of money, you know, or we go over to Australia and make money there, and then we fight Haney, you know, after he fights Fortuna or whoever it is, you know. Well,
I want to ask Max this. So would you say Manny Pacquiao is a big name, like a big name in boxing that's made a lot of money? A big draw?
Absolutely.
Okay. Where did he fight Jeff Horn?
The Jeff Horn fight,
where was it?
I believe it was in the UK.
It was in Australia.
It was in Australia. Okay, I don't remember.
In Australia. Okay. Sue's son, Costa Sue, unproven, but you know, there's a legacy name there. He fought in Australia this year.
Yeah,
against Jeff 35,000 too there. His last fight as well. There were him against Horn had a good amount, like 20,000 people. Well, I don't know the exact number, I forget, but I think it was 15 or 20,000 there when this pandemic just started. So what I'm saying, over there they fight in stadiums, bro. Like there's going to be a live gate, and whether it sells or not, if they're willing to give money to Teofimo, I don't see why you should turn that down, especially since this is a mandatory for a belt that he beat Comey for. Like, he beat, not how long ago that fight was against Comey? That was over a year ago. So he's going to be due that mandatory, and this is how I feel about it. Why not get that mandatory? This is my opinion, though. Why not get that mandatory out of the way, and we can do the Devin Haney fight right after that? Now, that's my opinion. But according to Teofimo Sr. himself and Teofimo Jr., okay, they're basically saying we're sending an offer to Devin Haney. You know what I mean? They're saying they're going to send them an offer, right? That they're already in the works for that. Now, I just want to address your comment. I don't know if he just made $1 million. I do understand he was holding off for more money, okay? And we don't always quite know what these fighters are making, right? But his stock went up immensely after defeating Lomachenko. Right? He is worth more. His stock is worth more now than it was before the win over Lomachenko. In fact, both those guys took a pay cut for that fight. So it's unfair to look at the purse for that had no gate, not the regular numbers you would see. Okay. And it was, even for him, it was a jump in the purse at that time, right? At that time, they were saying, oh, you've already made, we're giving you way more than you ever made. Why do you want more? And he was negotiating more. Arum even came out and he said, hey, I'm not going to lose money just because Teofimo Lopez wants to get paid more. But guess what? Eventually, they ended up paying him more, right? Now, I can go directly to the source and ask them what they made if I want. But the reality is, if they're going to get paid, right, to fight Kambosos, let's say it's $5 million, right? Let's say it's nowhere near. Let's cut it in half. Let's say it's $5 million, right? Isn't it logical to say, you know what? These guys are mandatory. They can strip us of the IBF belt and we don't fight him, right? The IBF doesn't play games. They're not like the other bodies like that, okay? That's the one thing I respect personally about the IBF, okay? Why risk getting stripped without some type of reward for it, right? So what they're saying is, hey, if you pay me more than what I'm going to make in Australia fighting Cambozas, then we're willing to make the fight. You know what I mean? Then we're willing to do it. That's all they're saying at the end of the day, right? Nobody's saying, by the way, that they're avoiding Devin Haney. I mean, I think, to me personally, Max, I think that argument's out of thin air, bro. Like, let me put it this way. Teofimo Lopez, right? He just beat Nakatani, and then he beat Comey, and then he beat Lomachenko. Can you name me the last 3 wins of Devin Haney? Can you give me the names?
Yeah. His last 3 were Gamboa, Molina, and don't remember the third one. I know it's Gamboa, Molina. I mean, I could look it up, but yeah, it was Gamboa, Molina.
I believe he fought somebody named Santiago on the undercard of the.
Don't feel bad about that. I don't remember either. I don't remember who that was. Right. My point is, it's clear to see who's fought the better opposition. It's clear to see who hasn't had any tough challenges. You know what I mean? If any of those 2 guys deserves an easy touch, isn't it reasonable to say? And by the way, I'm not even calling Cambozas an easy touch. I think Haney's a better fighter. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I could concede that, but Cambozas isn't exactly a pushover either. Like, this is a top 10 lightweight according to many ratings out there. Okay, but if anyone deserves to fight someone maybe not elite next, let's say, right? Isn't it reasonable? And I want to ask you, just man to man, isn't it reasonable that Teofimo is it okay if he fights Cambozas next after the last 3 opponents he had, and maybe Haney should fight Fortuna, who his own dad said and applauded Samson and said, yes, let's make that fight. That's the type of opponent we need, a credible opponent out of his own mouth. He said that on the Boxing Voice, right? Isn't it reasonable to ask that? Isn't it okay if he fights Cambozas next? Isn't that okay?
It is okay, but I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's the critical difference when it comes to the racial divide in boxing. With all due respect, I strongly, based on my experience, because I'm 25 right now. I didn't personally buy it, but I saw my first pay-per-view at age 5. So roughly around, only 19 or so years of watching boxing, because we bought the Mike Tyson versus Lewis fight. But that's the exact sort of respect that, at least maybe I can speak for myself or other black boxing fans, that we feel that black fighters do not get at all. There is never any time for any sort of breaks. It's always time for unification. Like, if you look at Danny Jacobs' record, like, I remember he was going from if you look at his record, I mean, we're talking Deverenchenko, Canelo, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and then before that was Golovkin, and he was just going back and back to back. They put the same pressure on Mayweather. They put the same pressure currently on the Charlo brothers now. They put the same pressure on them all the time. And what you were saying earlier in regards to the stock situation, Vasily Lomachenko's stock personally as a P4P number 1 on a ranking, we all have to agree that P4P rankings for the most part are analysts' opinions, which is why they change from time to time. Personally, I don't think that anyone that was 14-1 losing to Salido should have ever been P4P number 1. Just saying. Like, for example, if you look at Chocolatito Gonzalez, he got beat by Sarung Visai twice, and Sarung Visai is nowhere on the pound-for-pound list. That doesn't make any sense, considering Lomachenko earned his place when he beat the number 3 Rigondeaux. So that has always been confusing to me as far as the pound-for-pound list situation. So Vasily Lomachenko's stock, that's debatable in and of itself, which is why some people are saying that Teofimo Lopez's stock hasn't skyrocketed to that point. And I agree with you that he's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off, but I just, if I may, because that's a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? But I want to just rewind a little bit, right? Like, let's talk about, because can you give me an example of an African American fighter at age 23 that fought 3 opponents like the ones I just mentioned in a row, right? And that was pressured to fight somebody, like immediately fight like a big name. Can you give me an example?
Well, when Mayweather took out Hernandez, when he was, I believe Mayweather was 22 at the time, he was pressured into fighting Castillo and Costa Zoo.
No. Hernandez happened at 130, bro. That happened at 130 pounds. Takasa Tsu was at 140 later on, right?
And that fight never happened either.
Yeah, he fought Gotti, and then he never fought Tsu.
Yeah.
But that's you condense the timeline here. I'm talking specifically immediately right after, right? Because even Mayweather, like when Mayweather went to 147, like he didn't just. Yes, was there calls for him to fight the best? I mean, I think we all as boxing fans have a right to call for everybody to fight the best. Look, if Teofimo Lopez fights Cambozas and then he fights somebody else that I'm not really interested in fighting, and then somebody else again, and there's a pattern there, I would definitely say, yo, bro, it's time for you to step up and fight somebody. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about that. But I just don't see an identical example of this happening.
Well, that's why I brought up the franchise championship situation, because you're talking about work rate and age. Devin Haney had worked his way up to being the WC mandatory first, but then this was swapped out, and Lomachenko activated his protection to get to swap from Devin Haney, and he told the WBC, and they all voted that Lopez v. Comey would decide who he fights next. So, I mean, I'll admit that Devin Haney was still over than Teofimo Lopez, but that's the chain of events about why we're even doing what we're doing and why Lomachenko didn't fight Haney. Am I saying Haney would have definitely won? Absolutely not, because that's a fantasy fight that currently hasn't happened, so we don't know. So that's not fair for me to have an opinion. But that's the situation, and that's why I feel that a lot of people are upset, and that's why, you know, especially from the LDBC, and that's why, you know, we're at this sort of schism that we are at now. Because, you know, and even if you watch some of the footage from Fight Hype and from other sources, Teofimo Lopez, before he even fights Comey, he already said the WBC is not giving Haney the shot. He even says it, not giving him a shot. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's done. It's a done deal. It's gonna be me and Comey, and whoever wins, which will most likely be me, I'll be fighting Lomachenko for the belts. And then we have the undisputed situation that we currently find ourselves in.
Can I ask you this question? Do you believe Spence is ducking Crawford?
Do I believe Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford?
Yes, that's the question.
Personally, no, I don't think he's ducking him. I think that, you know, Errol Spence currently, you know, based on public perception and pay-per-view sales, has the, you know, and the money he's brought in, he has all the cards, you know, in his hands. And I'm sorry?
I think it's the A side?
Yes.
Okay. Because this is what I want to ask respectfully, right? Because, you know, the fans, you know, we want to see Crawford against Spence, right? And would you agree, isn't it fair to say that the fact that Crawford's with Top Rank, right? And all the, like, the majority, I think we could both agree that the majority of the best welterweights are over here on PBC. That's where the smoke's at, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why Errol Spence is fighting those PBC guys. That's where the smoke's at, you know? So he, you know, he's fighting, you know, he fought Porter, unified with him. Great fight. It was my fight of the year last year. And you know, he just fought Danny Garcia, though. He didn't fight Crawford. But, you know, this is what I know, right? Pacquiao's still out there. I get all that. But isn't that kind of what's happening right now in this situation? Isn't it fair to say that Haney, you know, while he got a lucrative deal and good for him, you know, he's getting paid, but he's over here with the zone, right? It's not off of merit. Again, good for him that he's getting paid, but he's not an attraction like that for the money he says he's getting, right, on the zone. And Teofimo, similar to Spence, right, had all that work with Comey and with Lomachenko, right, and was able to fight those guys because they happen to be on his same promotional side, right? All promotional companies, right, fight the guys on their side. In fact, Spence coined the phrase, I'm going to clean up my side of the street first, right? That's what Spence said, right? Now, no one ever kind of coined it that way, but it's actually a beautiful way to put it, right? Because isn't that what Teofimo Lopez did? He cleaned up his side of the street, and now he has a mandatory, and you know, that's somebody that Top Rank could work with, so he's going to clean up that side first, you know? And isn't it fair to say that it's difficult to make the fight because Haney is on the zone side, right? He's on the side where there really isn't a lot of smoke other than Fortuna, which it looks like he might fight, and I think it's a good fight. But isn't it fair to say that the fact that isn't it more to do with Haney being on the zone and Teofimo being on the other side where he happens to have a lot more of the smoke, similar to, you know, Spence with PBC? Isn't it kind of similar in that way? Isn't it fair to say that?
It's fair to say, but Top Rank specifically as an organization and as a promotion company has had its issues, and many people, including Mayweather and others, have spoken out about their biases internally, and that has nothing to do with Teofimo. That's a Bob Arum problem. That's a old ass Bob Arum issue that he has personal with other people. But yeah, that's what makes it. That's part of what makes the situation more difficult. But Bob Arum in the past has been able to show that he has cross compatibility with other promotion companies when he's making fights that he wants to happen. So do I think that that's the ultimate obstacle? No, I think it's mostly Bob Arum and his plans for Teofimo's career, because you can see the differences with how Top Rank markets certain fighters. You have the marketing for Terrence Crawford, and then you have the marketing for like Tyson Fury, and then you have the marketing for Teofimo Lopez. So you can tell the noticeable differences. So
how did they market Lopez exactly? How would you say?
In comparison to Terrence Crawford?
No, I said there's a way they compare Lopez. How did they market him?
Well, they give him a great amount of marketing. They're going with the undisputed rhetoric, despite the fact that it's incredibly disputed. And he's done a lot of good work, and I think that he's earned his position, but unfortunately it was because Devin Haney was pushed out of the way early. I just want to reach like even though we're not going to agree, I want to reach some type of understanding, right? So I think we both understand that Teofimo Lopez earned his way, and I don't think he had anything to do with what happened to Haney. You know what I mean? I don't agree with the franchise tag. I never have, and I've spoken out against that, right? That is an issue with the WBC. But at the end of the day, it is fair to say that Teofimo Lopez right now has the best resume at lightweight, has beaten the best opponents at lightweight, okay? And when I asked, do you think after fighting three really good opponents, by the way, better than anyone Haney's ever fought, isn't it fair for him to have that Kambosos fight when Kambosos is not a walkover, he's not a pushover, he's a top 10 fighter, right? And in the meanwhile, Haney can give someone else a fight like a Fortuna, who even his own dad, right, said that's a good fight. I think that's a fight they could do. But when I mentioned that, I understand you said, whether that's something that, the black fighter doesn't have the luxury of, is what you said, right? But like I see African American fighters get quote unquote, I don't want to refer to any fighter as an easy touch, right? But just for the sake of the discussion, that they get easy touches here and there, like every fighter does. I could point to multiple examples of easy touches for all types of fighters. In fact, Haney just had one in his last fight. He just had an easy touch. I think all his opponents have been easy touches, if I'm honest. No fault to his own. He's fighting who he's trying to fight. And I do believe the fight will happen. I do believe Haney will get a shot. But we have to also ask, I want to ask you, and I want to let my co-host talk. I know he invited you on. I'm over here hogging the spotlight. But I just want to ask you one more thing, right? Right.
Where's the pressure for Tank to fight Haney? Why not Tank? Why can't Tank fight Devin Haney?
I think it's a good fight. I heard that similar to the Gary Russell Haney situation, negotiations broke down. That's a good fight. But Tank, the issue with Tank is that Tank is directly under Mayweather's camp. They have a plan for him or whatever. And we're talking about easy touches, but again, Haney was in line for Lomachenko, and then he was taken out of line, and the result of Comey and Lopez was given priority. But I agree. I agree with what you're saying, that the Teofimo's resume was never up for debate. He has, because that's what's happened. He's fought the best opposition at 135, and Kambosos being an easy touch, he's a mandatory. Whether he's an easy touch or not, he'll have to prove that himself. I'm not going to say he's an easy touch off the top. Did he struggle and almost lose his last two fights? Sure. But that is what that is. But I don't think he's like an easy touch. I wouldn't say that. He's earned his way up to a mandatory spot. Doesn't matter how he did it. But if you want to classify that as Teofimo getting a break, okay, sure, take the break. But ultimately, I think that when you were talking about cleaning up stuff on the side of the fence, I think this whole undisputed thing and actually getting all the belts in order and that stuff could not only be more lucrative, but probably take political priority over, over the IBF. And also we've known that, you can schedule an IBF mandatory, but also do a unification specifically for that reason. One can happen before the other.
Well, he beat Comey before he beat Lomachenko, so we don't know when that was scheduled, etc. Like I said, I can always go to the source. Even though we don't agree on anything, I appreciate you answering my questions, bro. But go ahead, G-Funky. I apologize.
Absolutely, man. So again, now I just want to ask you this about some of the comments that were left under that video that I made the other day. Have you changed your mind at all about some of the things that were said there? And I'm not going to repeat everything that was said there, but after coming on and us letting you come on and speak your mind, do you still feel the same way about this channel and about HCP?
I don't feel that way about the channel anymore, definitely. But this is not your fault. But a lot of the followers definitely have a few misconceptions about what the LDBC is and what we, stand for. Like, for example, a lot, what I saw under those same comments was that the LDBC is just biased against Hispanic people. And with all due respect, nothing could be further from the truth, because as I stated earlier, we don't, no one over there says anything poor about Lopez. No one says that, oh, he can't fight. No one says that he has the worst resume. No one says anything bad about Ramirez, about, De La Hoya as a fighter, his business practices or something separate. No one said anything bad about Juan Manuel Marquez, etc. So to say that, oh, it's this narrative about black supremacy and anti-Hispanic, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that pointing out racism in and of itself is racist. And plenty of black fighters have been beaten and no one complained. Like when Ruiz beat AJ, nobody really gave a shit. We were like, oh, Ruiz won. Damn, that's crazy. Like when personally I have Virgil Ortiz beating Maurice Hooker, but when Maurice Hooker lost last time, no one went, oh, damn, it's like this is terrible. Like no one does that. We just point out when things are biased. They just point out when things are clearly biased and the double standards toward black fighters. And also the little misconceptions, that we have, like, we dispute Canelo's franchise status. Canelo's fighting people like, Fielding and Avni or Durham. But then when it comes to the Charlo situation, everyone says, well, they're trash. They don't have the resume. But at the same time, it's like people like Fielding, and then he's got people coming up multiple weight classes, people coming off knockout losses, rehydration clauses, the clenbuterol situation. We just feel like there's double standards,
I'll tell you this: we don't trash fighters here on HCP, and what we do is we criticize. I've been called Canelo hater for the things that I've said about him on this channel. This guy right here, Chino Prophet, who's a big Canelo fan. Actually, we did a show where he put me on the hot seat, grilled me about being a Canelo hater. So, again, we keep it pretty consistent here. We criticize everybody regardless, race, nationality, skin color, what have you. As far as the LDBC goes, we've never taken shots at the LDBC. If you see here, D-Lo 404 Boxing is a part of the LDBC. And he's here. There's members of the LDBC that have wrenches that are on my channel. I have wrenches on other LDBC channels like BFTV. We're very cool. We're very good friends. He always invites me on the show. I go on the show. But I also want to say this. As far as the Charlos go, now, Jermell Charlo at 154, we can't say a damn thing about what he's doing. He's doing great things at 154. Now, his older brother, there's room for criticism there. But as far as the one at 154, we can definitely, we can't definitely say nothing about him. Did you want to add something, D-Style?
No, I just wanted to say this. Look, I know you may be looking at, okay, maybe somebody said something about the LDBC, and like, here's the deal, right? I make it very clear to everybody, at least in my channel, okay? And G-Funk kind of similarly runs things here. So I can't control what people say. If somebody doesn't like the LDBC, they don't like the LDBC, right? Yeah. Maybe they walked into the room and the channel one day and heard something they didn't like, and they were like, well, fuck this guy's, and left. You never know, right? It could be, everyone's story is just different. You know what I mean? So I can't control what people say, just like I can't control the things that are said on some LDBC channels either. Okay, some
Absolutely.
horrendous things I've seen said about Latinos. All right, that I've seen in those chats. Okay,
and to be fair, we can. I mean, honestly, we could sit here all night. I could pull screenshots that I have of chats from guys that I'm cool with in the LDBC, where I see just abominations about Latino fighters or Latinos in general. So I mean, you know, we could be here all night. Like I said, we can't control that. Just like they can't control it. You know, people are gonna feel the way they feel.
In fact, we need more of this. We need more discussions like this. Like, you know what I mean? So people could see, you know, it's okay to, even if we ultimately disagree on everything, right? We could still have a respectable conversation. Even if you walk away and feel at least understand us, even as 1% more, then at least we're making some progress. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I agree.
We're all about conversations at the end of the day, but I can't control how people feel. Like, you know what I mean? Because look, I don't believe any group is monolithic, and there's some people in the LWC I'm cool with, and there's some people I don't like because they have said some horrendous things about people.
They've made videos about us.
I don't,
and, you know,
I don't judge the whole group for anything about anything, right? But again, we can't control what people say. You know what I mean? It kind of is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I wasn't angry. I wasn't angry about that specifically. I came on the channel because I was given the opportunity to, you know, speak, and I appreciate it. But yeah, you know, that's just one of the things. Like when I was talking about, you know, Devin Haney and the WBC situation, that's a bigger theme, because the resume argument is going to always, you know, perpetuate itself if black fighters are constantly taken out of line. If you know, like or any fighter, to be honest. You know, for example, let's say Virgil Ortiz is up and coming, heavy hitter, you know, big deal. He's about to I don't know. And you know, people have their opinions. Like I don't hate any fighter because I don't know any fighter personally, so I can't judge them. But yeah, you know, Virgil Ortiz, like imagine if he got, let's say, a title shot.
But he was saying about G Funky, bro, not about you. I don't know.
No, I saw.
But here's what I'll say to you, man. I give you a ton of respect. You came on, even though we disagreed, you came on, you said your piece, you know, and you respectfully let us say our piece. There was no verbal altercations. Like you could see, I mean, there's some blow-ups that happen on YouTube these days, especially when it comes to boxing, you know. And here on HCP Uncensored, everyone's allowed to come on as long as they can come on and just keep it boxing. You know, we don't make personal attacks or anything like that. Chicano Prophet,
unless you're a Patriots fan. If you're a Patriots fan, that's funny.
Chicano, anything to say about Canelo?
I mean, nothing in particular. I mean, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, nothing in particular. Unless Max wants to talk about any issues that he has with Canelo's trajectory in particular, I'd be happy to get into it. But you know, I'm glad Max came on and, you know, spoke his thing, dude. It's nice to have people come on here and give their opinion. I do think that there are certain narratives out there, and like D-Style said, you know, I don't view the LDBC as monolithic. There's a lot of people that I'm cool with as well, but I do see certain narratives on certain channels, and I'm not generalizing at all. But you know, I think to just say that, oh, you know, we don't do that at all. I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that you're talking about all of the channels out there, because I have seen it and it does exist, and there are double standards on each side.
Yeah, no, I'm not addressing any sort of single community as monolithic. I just wanted to talk about, you know, the issue with Devin Haney and Teofimo, and also, you know, the resume issue, because that's, you know, that's constantly a recurring thing that we're seeing with new black prospects, etc.
I hear you.
Okay. So before I let you go, I want to ask you this now. Dante, Ego, Aki, you know, they've been on a run of late, you know, trying to discredit what Teofimo has done, you know, especially Aki. He's, you know, Devin Haney, you know, he's the boogeyman, and Teofimo's scared, and, you know, like, do you agree with those narratives, or do you think he's just going a little too far with that?
As far as the narratives of them trying to discredit Lopez, I don't think they're trying to discredit him. But some of the specifics when it comes to the facts on, you know, the actual money, I don't think either side has that specifically. So I don't agree with that. Do I think that Devin Haney in the 135 pound division is somewhat of a boogeyman? I do believe that narrative. Am I going to say Teofimo and everybody else is afraid to fight him? I'm not going to say they're afraid, but I think that they're putting it off while they handle some other business, increase their star power, fight some other opponents, etc. and then maybe come see Devin Haney close to last when they're thinking about leaving the weight class or waiting on him to take an L or something like that. But as far as Devin Haney's boogeyman status, that I do sympathize with that argument. And some of the videos and some of the as you said, we can't do anything about that. But I don't think that they're actively trying to discredit Teofimo because they can't. He did win. He fought Lomachenko. He beat him convincingly. He did win. No one supports Lomachenko saying, "Oh, this was rigged. That was bad." Like that's not even an argument. No one's even talking about that. But I do think I do believe that Devin Haney is a boogeyman at 135, and I think that people get pissed off because he's not the next Mayweather. Don't get me wrong. But his boxing style of being able to fight effectively off the back foot, go in and out of range, it makes for a boring fight, but it's difficult to deal with. And he has the ability to win boxing matches. You can say that he doesn't have a lot of power. You can say that he might not be that fast. You can say all of those things. But what's true is, like, much like Mayweather and much like people like Usyk, people like maybe Prime Zab Judah have the ability to go in and out of range. And it does make for a boring fight, but they have the ability to win matches. And that's why I think he's the boogeyman. Not because he's, the top guy, not because he's he's this, he's that. I think it's specifically because his style is aggravating.
Stylistically. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Stylistically,
and I could, that's fair enough. You could have your opinion. I'll respectfully disagree. And I think that my criticism of Haney is just, I think it's pretty fair. I mean, he's very talented. We see that. Obviously, he passes the eye test with flying colors, but he's still untested, unproven at this point. And the punching power wasn't there against Gamboa. I really expected him to knock him out. I really did, especially a guy who spent so much time on the canvas. And Gamboa, you could put advertisements on the bottom of the guy's shoes, but that didn't happen. But he's very talented, and if he goes in there, starts beating guys, he beats all these dudes out, you won't hear me complain. You won't hear me say anything about him. I'll say the guy is the best in the division, no doubt about it, but that's still to be seen. If he can do it, great. If not, hey, it is what it is too. If he takes a loss, who cares? Like, it's over here, we don't write guys off. They take one loss. I know that there's a lot of channels that do that. They don't want their guys to take an L for whatever reason it may be, but it happens, man.
Well, the current guy Well, the current guy at the top is Teofimo Lopez, so that's the only way we can determine if he's actually the best is if he beats Teofimo.
Yeah, I agree. And, we just wait and see. We'll let the cards unfold, see if the fight actually happens, man. But I want to thank you for coming on, man. I really do. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. I know you have a channel.
No.
My
channel was a college project to test audio equipment. It's not like a real channel.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah,
so
it's not a thing.
Hey, if you want to, like I said, if you want to subscribe to me, you can subscribe to D-Style. We do a Hispanics Causing Panic podcast on his channel every Tuesday, 7 Pacific. And Chicano Prophet has a channel as well. So, you're more than welcome to join the HCP crew, It's completely up to you, though, man. I understand if you don't, and if you do, cool, man. But I want to thank you for coming on. You could give your final thoughts, man.
Oh no, I appreciate the opportunity. I definitely despite the comment section situation, just responding to some people, I have nothing but respect. But it just again, a lot of it is not on the fighter specifically. A lot of it is on their management. Like when people are talking about Teofimo Lopez, a lot of the time they're talking about Bob Arum. But they're using Teofimo Lopez as a proxy. And sometimes they are addressing Teofimo Lopez. I don't agree with 100% of what anybody says because I'm my own person. But one of the things I think we need to do is, a lot of the time when it comes to, black fighters, a lot of the time when it comes to undefeated black fighters specifically, now we're using the resume argument more and more to, sort of like some of the fans are willing fights not to happen. And it's like, okay, they are untested. Okay, they don't have the resume. They need to fight these people. And then, I understand that Cambosos is a mandatory. That's cool. But, and the franchise belt only applies to the WBC. But, there's a lot of situations in which there's wiggle room in which a lot of deals are made in which the WBC council votes on certain things to happen. Like, for example, the new Avni Yildirim fight, that was a vote. The elevation of Canelo's status to franchise champion when he was at 160 about to fight Charlo, that was a vote. So I think that certain things like that, and also, for Lomachenko's franchise status, that was a vote. So I do feel that sometimes people like Teofimo Lopez take a little bit more heat than they're supposed to from opposing parties when they're supposed to be talking about Suleiman and Aram. But those things do need to get cleared up so we can actually know who's the best and get the best fights. Because don't get me wrong, again, Cambosa's mentor, I get it. But, hopefully after that's done, because that's definitely going to be next, we don't end up in a situation in which, he's giving, like, for example, Ryan Garcia a shot or somebody else. And during the meantime, yeah, Haney should be dealing with Fortuna because he got two mandatories. One was Garcia, one was Fortuna. So whoever can make the fight first, great. Especially because I don't think that Garcia is really going to fight Tank personally. I don't think his management team is going to let that happen.
Yeah, that's a long shot. Go ahead,
I just think that I kind of noticed that when, like when you're talking about Teofimo, like what you give him credit for what he did, and then there's like a but, right? And the but is, well, what about how African American fighters have been treated? But I just don't see any evidence that shows that Teofimo Lopez is being treated better because he's Latino or non-black than if he was black. I just don't see any evidence of that. Like, for example, Tank, yes, as fans were asking Tank to fight Lomachenko, right? And I don't think Tank himself, kind of in a similar situation, I don't think he's scared of Lomachenko, right? But it seems like either Mayweather or his management wasn't letting him fight Lomachenko, right? But like Tank is still a fighter we watch, and a lot of people still like watching, and we want to see him, step up and fight some of the best opposition. But I could see many situations where black fighters did not accomplish what Teofimo. Outside of Crawford did. Crawford became undisputed. I give him all the credit in the world for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Charlo at 154 is on his way there too. Yeah.
Jermel's on his way. I got nothing to say about that. Doing nothing but great things at 154. But I just don't see video after video after video saying that Jermel needs to unify now or else. Like, I just don't see that. You know what I mean? I understand that the situation is not exactly the same. I didn't see any video after video saying Shakur needs to unify now when he was, at 126. I just didn't see it. Like, I guess what I'm trying to understand, the reason I ask and give me like a similar situation is I can't think of a time where a guy got, even if you say he's not undisputed, right? Got 3 of the belts and then is being criticized for fighting one of his mandatories. Like that's what's going on here. When fighters do that all the time, I just don't think this is a situation where it's applicable. I can give you a situation where it is, like what Aram did to Rigondeaux, for example, which I called him out for. That was a despicable situation, right? I could think of situations, right? I just don't think this is an example of it. I don't think Teofimo Lopez, if he's getting any great treatment by Top Rank, through some of my sources, it was like a funeral backstage when he walked backstage because they didn't think he was going to beat Lomachenko, right? From sources I've heard from. You know what I mean? I just don't think Top Rank is like, okay, like we're going to treat you better because you're Latino. I just don't see that. I'm not saying you're saying that, and that's why conversations are important because that's how I'm interpreting it. And if I'm interpreting that wrong, you can tell me, but that's how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It's not about him being Latino. It's about just him. The argument is that people that are not black at Top Rank are treated with a slightly better heightened status than those that are black. And I'm glad you mentioned that because we can talk about, for example, Terrence Crawford is someone that, you can talk about his resume, his opposition, etc. He's one of those undisputed people that actually had all 4 belts at one time at 140. And at the same time, his public relationship with Top Rank is horrendous. I'm talking just horrendous. He has to promote himself. He has to do all these things. Meanwhile, people like, Teofimo Lopez does a lot of his own self-promotion and has a good relationship, and he's in a higher status.
His dad as well, yeah.
That as well, rather the promotion, all publicity is good publicity, rather the promotion be good or bad, whatever. But people like Tyson Fury, who are also, has a Top Rank deal, he gets all the promotion no matter what is going on, despite the controversy, despite the drugs, despite the failed drug test, despite everything. So that's one of the critical, examples in the situation that we're talking about. And then passing, I disagree that Lopez is undisputed personally, but them passing him off as undisputed is some of the press and advertisement that people like Terrence Crawford would have never gotten if they were in the same situation and didn't get until they had all 4 belts. And even when he was undisputed at 140, it's always been a pretty lackluster, situation over there. His fights get very little promotion, etc. And the franchise belt situation, that's only been for 3 people. That's only been for the Canelo, Lomachenko, and now now Teofimo Lopez. And also the thing about that is that when Canelo first got it, it was not transferable. That means that whoever he fought, whether it be a Charlo or whoever, they would not get it, and that's fine. That is what it is. But then all of a sudden, because 2 top-ranked fighters are fighting, I'm pretty sure Arum did a little bit of what Arum does, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, we need to make that transferable so we can continue the same situation. So I just find it weird how things switch, opinions switch.
Yeah, the WBC, they're on some of that BS, man, and we've talked about Suleiman. We talked about what they do. We don't agree with the franchise stuff, man. It's just crazy. But real quickly before I let you go, and we could, if you want to come back again next week, you can. But I want to play you another clip from Dante where I feel like he's being very, funny with the material. I want to ask you if you agree with what he says right here. Check this out.
Okay.
Another reason why we know that that's a knuckle and not the palm of his hand. Because if you've boxed before, then you would know that when you put wraps on, your whole palm is covered. You're not going to see skin. You're going to only see the color of the wrap.
Now, I don't know if he came out and said that was a mistake to say that, but do you agree with that, with what he said there about the glove and Tyson Fury, whatever that is there that he believes it is?
Do I believe that the glove was in the improper position, or like his hand
what he's saying is when you wrap your hands for a fight, that you won't see the palm of your hand, you'll only see tape, and that's why he believes that that's Tyson Fury's knuckle and not his palm.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I've had my hands wrapped before, and my palms personally weren't visible, but that's a different set of circumstances. So with that specific clip, no, I don't think that how they wrapped his hands had anything to do with the situation. If the first fight, the highlights are in slow-mo, I do believe his gloves were in the improper position. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's what. Yeah.
Because I know Dante, like I've been subscribed to Dante a long time, and he's actually invited me onto his radio show. I don't know if you remember the radio show he used to have when he was in Vegas, but he sent me an invite to come on. But I know he's a big Mayweather fan, and when I seen that, I was just like, all right, now you're really reaching, or you're just blatantly flat out lying to people about what goes on, because we see this all the time with fighters. The palm is almost never covered. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen a fight that I could recall where the entire palm is covered with tape. I think he's just flat out lying to people about.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. I do not want to have a Glovegate debate. It's not going to end.
No, we'll talk about that next time for sure.
But here's what I do want to say. If you make a statement like that, if you say everyone knows that the whole palm should be covered, right? A lot of casual people that never had their hands wrapped, okay, professionally, like this, you know what I mean? Like that's a professional hand wrap. More often than not, okay, the palms are visible. Okay, I'm not saying it's impossible for the palms to be covered. Okay, but more often than not, that to me, it's giving off false information. And even if you do believe in Glovegate, I mean, at the very least, it's not helping the argument when you give false statements like that. And I do believe, in my opinion, that Dante was purposely being misleading there. I do believe that. At the very least, that's my opinion, of course. He could have just made a mistake, but if it was a mistake, I think there should be a retraction to that statement. It doesn't mean he retracts he believes Glovegate or not. It just means that statement itself is a false statement, and it's not even my opinion. It's just a false statement, period.
Right. That's that's why I didn't, that's why I didn't readily agree with him specifically stating that, it had anything to do with the raps. Personally, I wasn't even aware that the raps were at issue until, until recently. But the principal issue is that we go from a guy who has mostly stoppages and no actual KOs. We go from a guy that comes from a 2-year layoff who's not really known for his punching power much to all of a sudden punching the flesh out of people's ears. That was, weird, and it leaves a question more than anything. We're not saying it's impossible. We're not saying that, he couldn't have possibly gotten, stronger, but with his current history of, steroid use or boar meat or, whatever, that's perfectly fine, So
well, you're not saying that, but a lot of people are saying that. They're saying that it's not possible.
Yeah.
Like I've heard people say that it's not possible.
That's a bit of a misnomer. Do I believe it's highly improbable and there was some foul play? Personally, yeah, I do. But I'm not gonna say that, it was because of some hand wrapping situation. I mean, if we look at the first fight is on YouTube and they show slow-mo clips. To me personally, that's a little bit abnormal for a glove situation. I've never seen that, and I've never seen someone get the flesh punched out of their ears.
But that was you just said the first fight's on YouTube, right?
Well, they're both on YouTube, but yeah. Okay,
the first fight. Would you agree that the glove looked worse than the first fight?
It did look worse in the first fight.
Right, it did. Right. Did he ever hurt Wilder like that in the first fight with that hand?
Did he with his left? Because it was on. I'm referring to his left hand.
Yes, his left hand. Did he ever hurt him with that left hand in the first fight?
Drop him? No, he had him stunned once or twice in the corner in like the 6th and 7th.
I would say most of the time, if any, like the 12th round, he hurt Wilder with the right hand. You know what I mean? In the first fight, the end of the first fight, when he got back up, right?
Yeah.
He hurt him with a right hand. So we know he could hurt him with a right hand. Right. Now, I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking this because G-Funky and me have a video up on my channel where before the second fight, we point out that he hurt him with a right hand at the end of that 12th, right? Right. So what he did was he went with, this is just my personal take, right? He went with Sugar Hill, Kronk Gym, offensively minded, more front foot heavy, no longer boxing off the back foot, right? Right. If you've hit a bag or sparred or fought anything, you would know that if you put pressure on the front foot, your punches are going to be heavier compared to when you're on the back foot. Okay. Right. So he was fighting more front foot heavy in that fight. Second, he didn't become a knockout artist all of a sudden, right? Now, I'm not saying you're saying that, but a lot of people are saying that because he never stopped Wilder. Like, they stopped the fight. They threw in the towel. Yeah. Right. If he was a power puncher, if Joshua hurt Wilder like that, he would have finished him. Right. Because, this is a guy that has real power at heavyweight. We all know that, yes, it's true. He's not a knockout artist, but he is a big guy. He was 275 pounds. His punches were heavy. Right. So it's going to have an effect. I don't care who is who. Right. And I think that's what caused the stoppage ultimately. Also, I think Wilder's equilibrium was off. He was a little off balance. That second knockdown, I don't even think he was that hurt from the body shot, but he was off balance and fell. But that tells me he had a dude that was not even all there, and he couldn't knock him out. I think that confirms what everyone's saying about Fury's power. He doesn't have that power, right? And if the issue with the left hand is, where was the damage, quote unquote, in the first fight? Because the glove looked worse in the first fight, in my opinion.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I just wanted to give my take. I'll let you give your take, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
I was going to say the first fight, the issue was not only, who won the fight with the 2 knockdowns and the compy box punches counted, etc. But the left glove in the first fight, in relation to the second fight, the issue on the Instagram video that I'm sure that you all watched from Deontay Wilder, him explaining the whole, his allegations, the allegations that he verbally pointed to, and some of the video footage, is that similar to the Oshaki Foster situation, they were concerned about how little padding was in the right hand, which is why he was able to inflict the damage that he did. Now, rather that was the case because there are some footage that people say is photoshopped. There are some footage where people say, "Oh, it's confirmed from the photographer," but there are some where his knuckles are visible in the gloves that he used in the second fight. Some people were comparing that to the O'Shaquie Foster situation and the Mayweather Maidana situation, where the gloves, because they're Mexican style, they have the horse hair, where a lot of the padding was able to be shifted because you can call manufacturers to do that for you. And that was some of the complaints that Maidana had with Mayweather's camp, and then those are some of the issues that were raised in the O'Shaquie Foster situation. So I'm aware that was one of the key issues.
Really quick, I don't believe any of the photos were photoshopped. I just think the fighters are moving. Like, boxing is a quick sport. Like if somebody pauses this frame, like, it's gonna look like a wave of my hand. But what I'm saying is, I just think it could be a mixture. He has like those metallic kind of gloves, and they could kind of look a certain way with lighting, and then it was between the elbow and bicep of Wilder. But that aside, do you believe that those are Fury's knuckles showing? Do you believe that?
I believe it's possible. Do I believe definitively that those are his knuckles? Okay. Until the commission decides to investigate, until we even find the gloves. Yeah, until we even find the gloves, I can't say for sure.
I just want to say this, right? So just so you could take this with you a little bit. And we know this not just because common knowledge of boxers how they wrap their hands, but Fury, they did take off his gloves after the fight. The knuckles are covered, bro. Those can't be knuckles.
Caused and taped up.
So. The tape is covering the knuckles. So the little wave that looks like it's knuckles, it can't be knuckles because the padding is covering his knuckles.
Well, you know what I'm saying? They were saying that you could see his fingers. They were saying that the outline of the fingers, not just like the top of the knuckle, but the whole finger portion, like in the gloves, you could see from here to here. That's what they were saying. They weren't saying like just this part, because we know that there's padding. It's a
bump, bro. It's a bump like this. If you look at the padding like that wouldn't. That's not a thing. Like, I think people think they see a hand like this, like draped over like this. I think that's what they think they see. And to be honest with you, the first time I saw it, I was like, "What the hell?" But then, like the very next frame, it's like you see the full padding.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I'm just wondering where the gloves are. I feel like because Maidana showed like his gloves before the fight, and that's how that happened. And the same with O'Shaquie Foster's coach. I think if Furious Camp just produced the gloves, we could put a lot of this to bed. Personally, I'm not saying that they do that, but I think that would help.
This is just my opinion, but I'm basing. I wasn't there in person, but from what I saw and from what I know and from what I understand is that there really wasn't anything wrong with the Maidana gloves. So that's how horsehair 8-ounce gloves look like. Like, I know, like, people look at that and they're like, "What? Like, these aren't the gloves you buy at Walmart and at the sporting store and all that I wear to hit the bag." That's not what they look like. These are horsehair gloves. Professional horsehair gloves is what those are. And Mayweather's, the ones he wore when he was at 130, 135, those Clit Torres gloves look just like that before he put them on. I guarantee that.
Right, yeah. I was never saying that Mayweather was like right in what he was doing. I was just saying that Maidana had the gloves for view, which is why Mayweather was able to have an opinion. I think that if Tyson Fury's team produced the gloves, then
I got you.
Yeah. No, I was never saying Maidana was wrong. I just think Floyd didn't want to get hurt that much. But.
Yeah, and as far as
like the most respectable conversation I ever had about Glovegate, by the way.
Yeah. We would love to have you back on, man. If you want to, next week, every Wednesday, I go live here, and we could have another discussion about the Glovegate thing. Because I'll be honest with you, I've been really looking forward to having a conversation with somebody about it without it being taken someplace that it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Because we see that a lot these days, and you've been very respectful, and I want to thank you for that, man. I do appreciate that, and I want to thank you for your time, man. And
thank you for having me.
Like I say, anybody that wants to come on and speak with us, they're more than welcome to, as long as you keep it boxing, man. And that's what you've done. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. And again, the invitation's there for next week. If you want, man, you could just email me, bro.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
No problem, man. You have a good night.
You as well.
See that, guys? It's that easy to just have a conversation about disagreements, man. It doesn't have to be the way that it is right now. And you know what I'm talking about. It's ugly right now. You know, it's really ugly out there in the YTBC right now. But Chicano, you still with us, bro? You're a little quiet, baby.
I was just listening, man. It was good times, and I don't want to do the whole 3-all-1 thing. And he was very respectful, so I just thought that'd be good to let you guys flow.
Absolutely, man.
But this is number 500.
That's right. Time to celebrate. That's what I'm here, man.
You guys see, I've been drinking my Crown Royal. This is gonna be the last one though. My daughter has school in the morning, so orale Corona. Hey, but I want to say this, man, before the guest came on, and I wanted to give him his time because he came like he said he would, so I had to give him the platform. I want to again give a shout out to my boy Mr. Pound for Pound who started me here. Of course, I got to give my brother D Style a lot of credit also for getting me where I'm at today. He pulled me out of the grave. Let me tell you guys something, man. I came back after a 2-3 year layoff. I did one live show. I had like 2 views on it. All of my old subscribers were gone, man. And D-Style hit me up. He said, hey, man, let's start, you want to do a show? Then we started doing weekly shows, and it turned into HCP. By the way, February 5th is 1 year for HCP. So make sure that you guys are there, man. And yes, that's right, Ignorant Boxing. I'm working my way there, man. I'm halfway there now, and I'm going to keep working, man. But I also want to give some credit to, all you guys in the chat. Obviously, you're all subscribed to me. I appreciate that. Chicano Prophet. I've done shows with him that have drawn a lot of attention, so I want to thank him as well. Nopal, Baxiano, Cano Loco, all the HCP Familia, Raw Boxing TV. I've been on his platform a lot. I even want to give credit to guys that don't even like me anymore, like Reggie Owens, who's been on my show before. I'll give him credit where credit is due because I'm not that type of guy. I don't hold grudges, things like that.
Stormy B, man. He loves the show.
Stormy B, man. I want to give him some credit also. The Cali Enigma, I haven't seen him in a long time. He showed up today, but I want to give him some credit also. He's done shows with me. Also want to thank today, after I set up the live, the liquor spot, the women at the liquor spot today, they shared the video for me and they gave me a congratulations on hitting 500. So I want to give them a shout out as well. I hope I didn't miss anybody, man, but I just want to thank everybody, man, for helping me get here. And,
yes, Taco, you too, Taco. Don't worry about it.
Yes, Taco, and you've been gone too, man. Hey, and this guy right here, Tony Boswell, man. I haven't seen you in a while. I caught you on sorry, that's the wrong. I caught you on Punches Live, so I'm glad I caught you, man. I'm glad that you're back, bro.
Hey, look, man. If everybody that let me say this, and we're gonna get to 1,000 for Chief Funky, like period. You know what I mean? But it's not even about that though. Honestly, it's about the content. It's about getting good boxing content out there. And I got to tell you guys, man, that everything's about, keeping shit respectful. You know what I mean? That's all. Right. We don't want to have to
say something to Mr. Funk, Super Funk Master G. He subscribed to me when I went live for the Ryan Garcia Duno fight. And I had about 300 people in that live, but he subscribed to me ever since then, man. I want to thank you for sticking around. But go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying, everything's about putting content out there, and we want, people to know, man, if you keep it boxing, anybody's welcome here at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's all we ask. We're not asking you to agree with us. We're not going to be deleting your comments left and right if you have a different opinion and all that. We're here to talk boxing. But I got to tell you, and I got to be honest, if I see a narrative I don't like, I'm going to speak against that narrative. And it's not a personal attack against that person or the people putting it out. Sometimes people believe narratives, but it doesn't mean they're true, right? And all I have to say to people that believe narratives, right? If you're so confident that what's being said is true, why get mad when it's challenged? You know what I mean? If somebody challenges what you're saying and it's the truth, don't worry about it. The truth will always prevail, right?
It shouldn't be an issue to defend it,
It shouldn't be an issue to defend it at all, man. Like, let me tell you something. 2021 HCP is going to go places. You motherfuckers better be there. February 5th, 1 year anniversary. It's going to be on a Friday night. It'll just be about an hour and a half. So, you're not going to give us your whole night, but we're gonna party it up, like, you know what I mean. I'll
have some pisto ready.
I want to have every single person that's hosted HCP or co-hosted with us. I want to invite them on, and it'll be like a big show and shit like that. You know what I mean? As simple as that.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the comments, guys, in there. I'm seeing you guys. This is look, man. This is exactly why I see. Look, I'm gonna put this banner back up real quickly, man. Where is it? Right here. See, this is exactly why I put this in my logo and right here at the bottom of the screen, the home of real boxing talk, because we don't do that type of shit, man. You know, we don't delete comments. We don't block people just because they disagree with us. Like, look, we just had Max on with us who disagreed with us, and we just let him talk. And we talk. It was, hey, we walked away agreeing to disagree on some things, and that's the way it should be, man. It shouldn't be an issue like that, you know? Tell all those people, man, anybody out there that you've seen that has been taking shots at G-Funk, D-Style, Chicano Prophet, No Paul, whatever, you tell them, man, how things get done around this place, man. They can come here and speak to us, man. It's not an issue, all right?
Yeah, we're easy to find.
Exactly, man.
Like, you know, G-Funky Street, it's right there. It's open, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And also want to give a shout out to Punch Drunk as well. And my boy Black and Brown. Like, I knew I was going to forget people, man. Black and Brown's supposed to have his ass here tonight, you know, but he didn't show up. But it's all good, bro. It's all good, you know. But a lot of guys from Punch Drunk and also from Black and Brown's channel. I've been around those guys. I've been on Black and Brown's platform, and a lot of guys from his channel have subscribed here, and I want to thank all you guys, man. But you know, let's switch it up, man. I don't want to make it all about me. You know, 500's good, but we want to get to 1,000. It's still got some work to do, baby. And believe me, it's not going to end, man. Chicano, we got open topics here, man. Anything you want to talk about tonight, man? Anything that's on your mind?
Well, you know, the last guy that was just on, you know, he said something to me that has kind of been on my mind, and I hate to speak when he's not here anymore, but I wanted to give him the room. But one thing that he said that I did notice in general was that a lot of people are starting to get critical of this idea that, oh, you know, well, you guys are just throwing this whole resume argument to stop good fights from happening. All I can say is that HCP has always wanted all good fights. And as far as comparing resumes goes, the only thing that I've ever said is when we're looking at a resume, we have to ask ourselves, well, does this guy deserve to be in the front of the line? That's usually where my argument is coming from when I look at somebody's resume. Because outside of YouTube, you know, nobody really cares about like which matchups are next if they're not in line because of hype or because of divisional ranking. So if you want your guy to be in front, I need to know why. And a good way to do that is to look at the resume to see if they really deserve to be that next fighter. So that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up because I noticed that that's starting to irritate the other side. But I mean, resume is important, guys. I mean, that's what we'll look at historically, you know, and I think that that's why people stress pound for pound so much, because that could be totally subjective. And well, you know, I have my guy and these guys on my list because of these reasons that are biased, but it's hard to be biased when you look at resumes. And so I think that we should continue to look at resumes and accomplishments.
Right.
Orale, read this comment. Can you believe that? You think he's being for real about that or what?
I don't know about that one, man.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Like I know that the name is Hispanics Causing Panic, but look, you see, we had Joe Habib on here, we've had Boxing Wave, we've had all people from all different walks of life, man. You know what I'm saying? So I want to read this comment as well. Mad Dog H says he just subscribed. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Pinchy Raider, man. He says, congrats on 500 HCP. Even though you're a norteño, you're a good dude. Chale Holmes.
Because like, you norteño, like, no hablan el español muy bien.
No, that's true. That's true.
Throw shots. It's so good.
That's true. But, you know, there's a lot behind that, man. And I don't want to get too deep into that. But, you know, I was thinking about making a video about, you know, the Chicanos here in California and stuff like that. That's in the works, man. Don't trip. But hey, Raider, you know, it's all love, man. You know, I know you're a Sureño and shit like that, but it's all good, bro. You know, you see, we treat you with love, man. You know, that's what it's all about here, man. But let's see here. Tony Boswell says, I knew G Funky D-Style before Punch and had to go on a hiatus for a second. Hey, it's all good, man.
Tony abandoned us, bro. We just took out a peace out. Like, you know what I mean? I'll be back, though. You know what I mean? Then he came back. He's like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, man. It's all good, bro.
He still had the wrench in the channel, bro. He came back like, this still has, I never took off a wrench or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, matter of fact, here I'll give you a wrench right now, man, just for coming back, because you were around a lot, man. I remember when I first came back, you were almost every time I went live, you was there, man. So, you're wrenched up now, bro. And don't trip, guys. A lot of you guys, again, it just comes with a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Sinister says, "What about Tejanos?"
What about it?
Tejanos, I mean, they speak pretty good Spanish, bro. You know, they're a lot closer, to Mexico than us, but there's a lot to our story here in Northern California, man. And believe me, I'm going to tell that story, and that's coming, man. Look at this. It's a great comment. Boxing bringing Sordeños and Norteños together. Hey, if whatever works, man, I'm all about unity amongst our community, man. So whatever it is that can bring us together, I'm all for it, man. Raider says, G-Funk, when you and Black or Brown come through to LA to watch fights, we'll hook up. I got some Dodger gear for you. Oh, man, fuck that, eh?
He's being nice. He's offering you some Dodger gear, and then you just throw it in his face like that? Or?
I would never wear Dodger gear, bro. Puro Gigantes, man, for sure.
You don't want to wear the champs gear?
Nah, man, nah. 3-time champ is better, man. San Francisco Giants, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I think we pretty much, I was going to talk a little bit about that clip that I played with Dante, saying that, the palm of the hand will be covered. But then, I pulled a picture out of Mayweather with his hands, with the palm, again, uncovered. I mean, we could go a million different pictures on that. You know what I'm saying?
That's what happens when you're looking for confirmation bias, and everything you look at is it's got to prove my point. It's got to prove my point, and that's how you end up saying things like that, So, look, I'm just saying. I was gonna send you a Kobe Bryant jersey, G-Funky.
I might hang that one up. I don't know if I'll ever wear it, but.
Oh, that will put you on the spot, huh? That one,
that's a tough one, man.
Hey, rest in peace to Kobe, man.
Absolutely. Remember, we did a show together when he passed away, and I'm a big Kings fan, and hey, you gotta give respect where respect's due.
You don't have to point out, and I'm a Kings fan. Like, what does that mean? Like that's like saying, and I'm an asshole. No,
you don't understand how it is up here, bro. Like, the Kings are everything, bro. That's all we got here in Sacramento. So it's a deep thing, man. When it comes to the Lakers, it's really hard. It's really hard for Kings fans to give them anything, but it's all good. He's a great player. I have no issue saying that. LT finally shows up. You're tardy, bro. All right, you're tardy. But it's all good, man.
And that's how we know who the real Mexicans are. They show up late and shit.
Exactly.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, the narratives, man. I feel like, really, like D-Style said, we're not gonna make a living off of going at narratives because there's just too many. I really feel like over the past 3 years now, Dante has just been pushing narrative after narrative after narrative to his fan base, and exactly. And we spoke to Raw Boxing, who was there, who knows Dante. He says, it's all about the money. I mean, we already knew that, but little confirmation. But D-Style, you made another great point where he said, a casual could see the things that he's saying, and it could lead them in the wrong path when it comes to boxing. Like, why does it have to be that guys are scared and guys are ducking and just, the things the things Aki says are just disgusting about Teofimo Lopez. Like, and anybody wants to defend him. I was in his chat the other day. Like, I was watching his shows. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Really ridiculous. He just tries, in my opinion, I think he just tries too hard. I think he's just trying too hard. He turns up the volume even more than Dante, but how is that good for boxing? How does that help?
But that's a good cop, bad cop tactic, though. Because those two guys work together. Dante even came out and said, only me and Aki are new media. Everybody else, you ain't new media. He came out and said that, right? So what happened? You have one guy, he's being so extreme that if you hear Dante, Aki, right, like, oh, man, and then you listen to Dante's going to sound reasonable. But it doesn't mean he's being reasonable, though, in a lot of his points. You know,
I really feel like it's a disservice to the sport, man. Like, boxing is not what it used to be, man. Back in the 80s and the early 90s, like, there was a lot of people that looked forward to see boxing on the weekend, pay-per-view fights, what have you, you know? Go ahead, Esau.
Well, T just said it, you know, hey, you know me, I'm down with HCP. Who's down with HCP? Put you know me in the chat if you're down with HCP. All right. But look,
that's
man,
right, man.
But yeah. But if I hear Keith's name one more time, I'm gonna punch my computer.
And I went at his head already and exposed his lies too, man. But I honestly don't see how that helps the sport, man. I really don't. That kind of rhetoric towards fighters and trashing certain fighters, it doesn't do the sport any good, man. It just doesn't.
Yeah. I agree, man. And one thing I want to say is like you said, you know, we're trying to be a channel that doesn't focus on narratives too much. We don't make our living off that. We're here to talk boxing. We like boxing. But I do want to say that I see a lot of people in the chat that I think have been doing good work and have finally said, hey, man, enough's enough. Like, if you guys want to have that conversation, we can have it. So I want to give a shout out to Raider, LT, Mr. Sinister, guys like you. I've seen you guys go out there and make your comments publicly. And we're right, man. And I think this next year is going to be really good for us. I mean, the narratives, they're going to end up eating their own words. And I'm glad you guys are all speaking out.
Damn, I'm sorry, Santeo. I just seen your email right now, man. If you're still there, I sent you the link, bro, so you can jump on for a little bit. You know, anybody else, man? Again, I've sent the link out to a few people, but it's all good. You know, it's all good. I know people got lives and shit. You know, but I sent you that link, Santeo. So hop on with us, bro. You know, it's always good to have you on, man. Yeah, I mean, we gotta be that alternative, man, and that's really the goal. We keep it boxing here. We don't go on personal attacks on fighters. Hell, we don't even go on personal attacks against other YouTubers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've recently come under attack from Reggie Owens, who used to be cool with us. Used to do a lot of shows with us. And, you know, he had an issue when I mean, Reggie, if you run across this, if you're watching, if you see it later, look, you could have called, bro. Yeah, he's very angry. You could have called, man. You know, we've talked behind the scenes. You've talked with D-Style behind the scenes. You know, it is what it is, man. You could have talked to us, bro. But you know, you've decided to go another way.
Boxing, bro. Let's talk some. I'm over there, Reggie Owens thing. Let's talk some boxing. Let's go.
Yeah. G Money 915 says, "What do you think of Felix Verdejo? Does he still beat top 10 guys? Can he still come back?" Shout out to ACP. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I do think he can make a little comeback, man. I felt like what I saw early on against Nagatani, I thought he looked really good, man. I thought he looked really sharp. I don't know if it was a stamina issue or it was just the pressure of Nagatani that broke him, but I think he can, man. I think he looked pretty good, man. And up until, you know, he started getting tired or like I said, the like D-Style says, the pressure bust pipes, you know. But what do you guys think of that, man?
Go ahead, Chicano.
I'm sorry, man. I was a little bit distracted. Go ahead, D-Style. I don't have a.
So look, I think I'm always a believer in giving credit to the winner and not making it about the loser, right? So what I mean by that, like one of my worst quotes ever is he beat himself. His opponent didn't beat him. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like this, man. Nakatani put the pressure on him. Nakatani was the one landing punches on him. Nakatani's the one that got back up from the punches. Nakatani gets the credit for the win. Nakatani broke him down. Nakatani put him out. You know what I mean? And it's up to Verdejo, if they ever rematch, to make the proper adjustments, you know, to go ahead and either outbox or take Nakatani out. You can outbox him. It is possible to do that. It's going to be a tough fight for 12 rounds, but you're going to have to deal with that. You know what I mean? But, you know, Nakatani gets the credit. I always stay consistent with that. You give the winner the credit.
Yep. He gets the credit for sure. He got dropped, man, and got up to win the fight, you know. Chicano, you want to add anything to that, bro?
No, I mean, it was, you know, that was a damn good fight, you know, and I'd have to say that, you know, as far as him making a comeback, we'll see, man. Kano was telling us that, you know, he's a little bit chinny and that could be a problem. And it might only get worse, man. There's a lot of beasts at 135. So, I mean, I definitely think he could possibly be a contender or a gatekeeper. But as far as him tasting gold in that division, I think it's very unlikely.
It's a tough division for sure. What I can say is this: from what I saw early, he looked good. I think he's got a real good trainer in his corner in Ismael Salas. So I'm not ready to write him off just yet. You know what I'm saying? Mad Dog H says, I want to see Munguia versus Hurd. That would be, that would be an absolute war. Is Hurd still at 154? You know, I haven't seen or heard anything from Jared Hurd ever since he lost to who was it? J-Rock. I don't think I've seen him back.
It's been a while.
Yeah, maybe somebody in the chat could let me know. Rap Star Boxing Talk is here. He says, salute to everyone. Keep Boxing Talk going. England is in the building. Yes, man. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. That would be a good fight if Hurd moves up to 160. That would be an action-packed fight. What do you guys think of that fight?
I think it'd be good, man. Like, I'd like to see Jared Hurd back. I think he's got a fan-friendly style. So, I mean, yeah, if they want to get that going, there's a lot of fights to be made. Like, if 154-pounders move up to 160 or 160-pounders move to 168, I mean, these guys just got to get in the ring and face each other, and we're in for a treat if they do.
Hell, even Hurd versus Charlo at 154 would be a hell of a fight too. D-Style, what do you think, man? Munguia, Hurd.
Look, I think that is definitely a fight of the year candidate type fight for sure. I would actually favor Munguia in that fight because it's going to come down to who has the better offense out of those two. But it's a hell of a fight. Like I wouldn't mind that fight at all, actually. But honestly, I actually want Munguia to fight Triple G.
That could be a real possibility. Triple G versus Munguia, and I think that's a good fight too. I think that's an action-packed fight. Would love to see that happen. Boxing Dialogue is here. Thanks for stopping by, man. He says, is Andrade versus Saunders being made next? I mean, from what I've been reading, it certainly sounds like that's going to be next. And that's a great move for Demetrius Andrade if that's next. He can get a belt, and guess what? He can get that shot at Canelo that he's been wanting for a long time. You know, Canelo says he wants to be undisputed at 168. So beating Billy Joe Saunders puts you in line, right, Chicano?
That's right, man. If you know what you need, if you want a golden ticket, you know how to get it.
I like that, the golden ticket. Who do you think wins that fight, man? If it was to happen,
which two fighters are we talking about?
Andrade and Saunders.
I've been thinking about that one. I'd have to say that I favor Billy Joe Saunders in that one. What about you guys?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, but I don't know who I would favor in that fight. I'd really have to look at some film, even though I've seen both guys fight. But those two styles are, man, that's an ugly clash right there. Right? What do you think, D-Style?
I would actually favor Andrade. I know a lot of people don't like Andrade. He's definitely pound for pound one of the worst to watch in the sport, but I, of course, reserve the ability to change my mind. But I would favor Andrade in a very ugly fight. But when these guys jump up in weight, though, like Billy Joe Saunders is a naturally bigger guy, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I got to think about that one, but I'm going to favor Andrade for now.
That's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one. Raider, I just seen your email, bro. I'm going to send you the link right now, man.
Well, both those guys are, supposedly the kryptonite for Canelo as far as style goes, so it'd be interesting to see who comes out on top and can claim that ticket to face Canelo within the year, possibly.
Sonteo says he'll take Boo Boo. Raider says Billy Joe Saunders. Big Dog Willie says Andrade wins. He's just more athletic. I don't know. I think they both kind of have an athletic style, but damn, that's an interesting style clash there, man. Those two guys. Sonteo, man, if you want to jump on, bro, I sent you the email. I would love to have you come on, man, and talk a little boxing with us. We're cooking here for a little bit, man. We'll do some Q&A. You guys keep asking some questions, man, in the chat. We'll dig in. LT says, I don't know if Munguia is ready for Triple G, but I'm sure Eric El Terrible Morales is going to get him where he needs to be. It seems to be like a work in progress, a little bit slow, But I don't know. What do you think, D-Style? That's your boy, man. El Libre. What do you think, man?
Well, look, I mean, the big question I have for, like, El Terrible may know what to do to beat a lot of these guys, but he can't put his body on Munguia. Like, you know what I mean? Munguia just isn't that dude like that. Like, you know, he's not as technical and as, you know, he doesn't have that technical ability in a way as an Eric Morales. You know, he doesn't have the, you know, the quick footwork of an Eric Morales, the jab of Morales. He doesn't really have like the feints and, you know, the way he would kind of like, you know, feint uppercut, throw a right hand or vice versa, or, you know, he just doesn't have that, you know. I would say he probably has a better uppercut than Morales. They don't give him that. You know what I mean? But I think, does Morales have the ability to train someone that fights nothing like him is what I want to know. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the $1 million question. I don't know yet. You know what I mean? You know,
that's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough one,
he doesn't remind me of Morales at all. Even
at all.
So, if there's any, like, this isn't Rocky 2, okay, where, like, you know, in
you're gonna turn into Apollo Creed.
All of a sudden, Rocky, like, like, you know what I mean? And he's like, he's on his toes and like, whoa. Nah, bro, he's beating Apollo in the beach in the 100. Like, all of a sudden, like, you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, Rocky's on his toes, throwing quick combinations, and bruh, let me tell you something, okay? All you could do is get his strengths and make him better. If Morales could do that, he knows boxing. Can he do it? Is it possible? Yes, but will he? I have no idea. You know what I mean? A lot of these elite fighters, bro, a lot of times don't have patience with guys that are less skilled than them. You know, they wonder, well, why can't you throw that feint in the uppercut? I did it all the time. Well, not everyone is capable of that. You know what I mean? In the line of fire.
It's instincts, I think, really is what separates a lot of people.
Like, what do you mean you can't do the pull counter? I did that shit all the time. All you do is this and then this. Like, well, not everybody can do that, bro. Okay?
Jay Pesto says, Hurd fought once since losing to Williams. Hasn't been in the ring in almost a year. Ouch. Yeah, that's not good. D. Hodges is here. What's up, man? Thanks for being here.
Shout out to D. Hodges. Just really quick.
Yeah.
And I'll shut up after this. Look, a lot of times this is a philosophy or not a philosophy. It's a theory of mine, okay? I think a lot of the, like, less skilled fighters, like Freddie Roach, become great trainers, right? Because they have to work so hard to do, like, a lot of the basics in boxing. You know what I mean? And they may know mentally, like, if my right hand was a little faster, I could have beaten this guy or that guy or whatever it is, right? But they gain a lot of the, you know, that knowledge, but then they know how to add to it when they see someone else, right? So they teach, like, since they have to learn the basics, you know, and be really good at them, they can teach that to more elite fighters than them. You know what I mean? And then add to their arsenal by saying, hey, man, I wasn't this gifted as you, but here's something that I seen on film or other fighters that fought me that I caught on to that you can use, and they can implement that. I've always felt that that's why, like, subpar boxers a lot of times, even guys that never boxed before, like Enzo Calazaghe, he never boxed before. Teofimo's dad, I don't believe ever had any professional boxing or amateur experience, but they're able to kind of catch things with their eyes and teach them to people. But a lot of elite fighters, not some do, okay, like Buddy McGirt's a great trainer, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of fighters out there, man, like elite fighters that just, they don't quite have the ability to teach guys because they don't understand maybe why certain guys can't do the things that they naturally did. You know what I mean? Like, I think since they went with natural abilities, they don't quite understand. You know what I mean? It's my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I agree. And boxing, I'm going to get to this question right here, NBA Takes, but I got to read this one first. He says they're both from Tijuana. That's where the similarities in. I would have to agree with that, at least
good
so
uppercut,
far.
though. Good uppercut.
Yeah. Raider, what's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up, Raider?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good, man. Good.
Buenas noches. Buenas noches.
Buenas. Yeah, man, we're just taking some Q&A. So we'll let you chime in, and since you're here, we'll let you go first. We'll let you take this question here. NBA Takes asks the question. He says Sugar Ray Robinson versus Floyd Mayweather.
Sugar Ray Robinson. To be honest, I've never seen Sugar Ray Robinson fight. That's like like fucking in the 30s or some shit. I never seen that. I've never seen him fight. To be honest with you, and I'm not gonna go off of what others say about him. I mean, I've heard that he's probably the best of all time, but I have no assessment on that because I've never seen him fight. But yeah, I've never seen him fight, so I can't speak on that. To be honest,
okay. No, that's fair. At least a lot of guys will like to say things, give a hot take, and they've never seen him. So that's respectable, man. You never seen him. I know D-Style is already Sugar Ray for sure.
Well, here's what I want
I'm right
to say,
there with you.
though.
I'm right there with you, man. Yeah.
Just to add to the point, though, like here's what people never ask: like, okay, are they gonna fight an 18-by-18 or a 20-by-20 like they do now? Because that matters, right? Are they going to fight with the gloves that they wore back then or modern day gloves? Are they going to fight 15 or 12 rounds? Are they going to, like all the rules weren't 100% the same either. Like, so it just depends. All I could tell you is this, from the film that is available at middleweight. Okay. Robinson was amazing. His leaping hook was great. He had a really good jab. So I just think he'll be too powerful for Mayweather. Of course, that's a wild guess. Nobody will ever know. Yeah. But who would win the fight? Again, we don't know. But with this, what I can say, there ain't no way Mayweather would fight in that era with those brittle ass hands and brittle ass shoulder. And he fought 50 fights. He fought 49 fights, actually. I don't count the Conor McGregor bullshit. Okay. And the dude was already brittle. He was already having hand problems and he needed Cylocaine for his hands. Ain't no way that dude's going to fight every like 2-3 weeks and shit. No way.
No, it's a different era. Chicano, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I've never seen Sugar Ray Robinson fight either. I was going to wing it and bullshit, but Raiders inspired me, so I've seen a little bit of the black and white film. So, but by default, I'm going to say Sugar Ray Robinson, baby.
Yeah, no, I would take Sugar Ray as well. The unfortunate thing with Sugar Ray Robinson is that we don't even have any real footage of him when he was at welterweight. Everything is at middleweight and above, and from what I've heard,
what I want to tell you,
I've read, he's did some amazing things there. Go ahead, Rome.
No, it's real quick. Like that means that if he was knocking dudes out at 150, 160, right back then, this is the same day Wayne era. Like, what do you think he was doing to much smaller men in welterweight?
Yeah, destroying them.
Like he was only going to be faster. He was only going to be stronger. He was only going to be now. Granted, I think there's one fight. Of him at 147, but let me tell you something. Nobody seems to be wrong here. Like if somebody says Mayweather, like what am I going to say? Like, oh, wait till they fight, like So
exactly. No, Paul says to Raider, since you got a brocha. I think he's talking about your Raider guy there, man, with the mustache.
Yeah, I let it grow sometimes, and then I'll cut it real short. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. NBA Takes also says Sugar Ray Robinson versus today's fighters. Would he be undefeated? That's another tough question because you have to take into account a lot of things. Like we know Ray Robinson for his time period was probably the most talented, and obviously he was the best. A lot of people consider him the best ever. We'd have to count in the science that's developed since then, the supplements, the training, the equipment, all the good stuff that the fighters have nowadays that they didn't have back then. I mean, he would be much better than he was, So
that's true, but
again, we just don't know,
But here's the thing, man. Robinson himself said he didn't like fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if he made like what the fighters make today, that dude would probably retire, bro. Like there's no way to know, but he would probably call it a day after his first big payday. To be honest, you never know.
And guys in the chat, if you want to ask us questions about other sports, we could do our best with that too. I know I see an NBA fan here with the NBA Takes with the Michael Jordan emoji. You could ask us some basketball questions too. We'll do our best to answer that. But Raider, since I got you on, man, you ready to make this thing official, man? For Shelt Valdez?
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
I thought it was official, but all right.
Well, no, we didn't actually put a wager, make a wager yet. But I'll say this: $20. I'll put $20 down because I want to go through the bookie, man. It's just the odds are too good, so I want to drop more money there, But we can do 20 homes.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, I would do the same thing. If I had better odds with the casinos, obviously I would want to drop most of my money there, right? Yeah, we could do 20, no problem. I'm down.
Simon, you got a Cash App or something?
Yeah, I have a Cash App. I don't know how to. I'm on my phone. I don't know how to like copy and paste that stuff.
Just email it to me, bro. You got my email.
Oh,
now.
all right. Yeah. I got your email. That's all.
All I gotta say, G Funky, is this is the equivalent of like grabbing your feria and just throwing it down the toilet and flushing.
Hey, but I like how G Funky me está pidiendo my Cash App already. You know what I mean? you like that? You know what I mean?
You guys are too much, man. I'm telling you, man. If Valdez wins this thing, you thought I was bad when Lopez beat Lomachenko? Oh shit, it's gonna be bad, bro.
Nah, all you might crow. I have no problem with that. It's every once in a blue moon that I actually had Lomachenko. I had Lomachenko by decision. That was my prediction, but he fucking lost, and I went on another channel and ate my crow. But I mean, it is what it is,
Yeah, Big Dog Willie says Ray Robinson had Julian Jackson power at welterweight, and it wasn't fair. Hey, the Hawk, one of my favorite fighters of all time, man. That dude was never out of a fight because he had literally one punch knockout power, man. Like he's a dude you could see getting beat round after round after round. He just land one shot and fight's over. Crazy. The dude had over 40 knockouts in his career. One of the hardest punchers to ever box, in my opinion. NBA Takes Again says, do you think Muhammad Ali is the GOAT? That's a tough one, man. Because I have made a video calling him the GOAT when he passed away, but I have to give it to Sugar Ray, man.
Who? I mean, man, you can't go wrong, bro. Like, there's so many divisions. There's so many, like, it's just to say one guy is the best of all time in boxing is like crazy to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just my opinion. That's why I don't get involved. That's why I don't make like my best fighters of all time list, or because again, they fought in different divisions, different eras, different times, different. It's hard to say like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but are there guys that I say are all time greats? Yeah, and Ali's one of them. Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Who's on your guys' Mount Rushmore? Like, if you had to pick 4 guys that are your favorite fighters. They don't necessarily have to be, your favorite, just your favorite of all time, your 4 favorite. They don't have to be legends or whatever. It's just your 4 favorite fighters of all time. Your Mount Rushmore.
Damn you, 4. That's tough, man.
Not that tough. It's tough.
Yeah, for me.
No, so that's what I'll say, man. Like, Eric El Terrible Morales is my favorite of all time. Then I got to go with Chavez. I grew up watching Chavez. Salvador Sanchez, became very fond of him as well. And then there's Ali. I'll say those 4. Just pick 4, G-Funky. What's going to happen? Like, what you think you get in trouble? If you forget?
It's just I have to obviously put Chavez. I grew up a Chavez fan. I want to put Trinidad in there, but then damn, I have to cut somebody else out, So, but I will put Trinidad in there because I grew up watching him. For me, he was one of my favorite fighters. Him, Chavez, Salvador Sanchez, and then I'm gonna put Joe Louis because I've always liked Joe Louis, and I think that he really is. He doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of the doors that he opened for the African American fighters back in the day, man. But Joe Louis, man, the Brown Bomber.
Honorable mention for me is Oscar De La Hoya. I grew up watching him a lot too.
He
probably belongs in my. I'll take out Sanchez probably and put De La Hoya.
Yeah, my top 4 would have to be. Yeah, man, I wanted to say it too. I'm glad you said that, Tisa. Like mine would be Oscar De La Hoya, Juan Manuel Marquez, Canelo, and Pacquiao would be my top 4.
forgot about Marquez. Damn it, man.
See, you look now. You stressing talking about me, Raider. What do you got, man? Your Route Rushmore, bro.
Fuck, I got Chavez, Salvador Sanchez, Tyson. I gotta put Tyson in there.
Shit.
And man, number 4. Man, I'm either Ali or Oscar, man. One of those. Probably Ali. I'll pick Ali.
It's
Ali
tough. It's tougher than you think, man, to do 4.
You know why I took out Salvador because and put the De La Hoya because I grew up watching De La Hoya. You know what I mean? Middle school, high school, like that De La Hoya on a Saturday night fighting, and then there was a time I think he fought didn't he fight like 5 or 6 times in '97 or some bullshit like that, like some crazy shit like that. There was a year where he was very, very active, and I was like, Now
I'm getting mad because people are putting their top 4 in the comment section, and I'm like, shit, I should have put this guy. So Dale Media says Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Castillo, and Adrian Broner. Focus Broner beats them all, baby. Mad Dog 8 says Mount Rushmore, Tyson, Ali, Chavez.
I got one for you guys.
Marquez and Canelo. That's too many, bro. It's 4. You know what I'm saying?
I
read one more and then let you go. Ali, 135, Duran, Hagler, Roy Jones. See? Yeah, damn it, man.
If Trump got what he wanted, it would have been 5. You know what I mean? Like, it never happened. Yeah. It should have happened. Like fuckers, bro. What about the 4 biggest disappointments? Like guys that you were following and it turned out to be the biggest disappointments ever.
Well, I can tell you, I was really stunned. And
Chavez Jr. is one of them for sure.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I was never big on the kid, but I understand. Dude,
I was
dude. Chavez Jr. has the skills, but he just does not care, dog. That fool le vale madre el vato if he wins or loses. He don't care.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Yeah. He has no ambition. But he has the skills. He's that dude that is really good, but he doesn't care. Like if he wins or loses, he cares less. You know what I mean? Yeah. If that fool had that ambition that his dad had, or even more like Canelo, that ambition to win, he would have been good. That's all I can say.
That's a good list, Bruce goes. Ali, Robinson, Armstrong, and Ray Leonard. Man. I mean, damn, a lot of good names being thrown out here in the chat. Chicano, disappointments, man. One of your biggest disappointments as far as a boxer.
Yeah, well, there's been times where I've been disappointed in the outcome of certain fights as far as the opponent not doing what I thought they should have done, or just being so surprised. Like I gotta say, I remember with Pacquiao versus Hatton, I was really disappointed the way Hatton just got laid out. I was expecting a little bit more. I mean, props to Pacquiao for doing it, but man, I was really stunned with that one. I was also disappointed in the way De La Hoya kind of came out and lost against Pacquiao. That one was difficult for me to take too.
Hold on, are we talking about a fight? Or
no. I guess I kind of just phrased it my way. I guess.
No. Because I have a fight too, but I mean, career wise, I'll pick Chavez.
Go ahead.
Chavez Jr. Okay.
I'm curious now. What's your fight?
Yeah, Chavez Jr. My bad.
Yeah, what's your fight, Raider?
Fuck, I'm gonna probably the time that I was really disappointed, like big time, was Mikey versus Spence. That right there, man, Mikey. Oh man, that fucking broke my heart. I was like, oh, dude, not 1 round, my boy.
Yeah.
Come on, dog.
Don't get Chicano started, man. He doesn't like
dude. That Mikey, he's only lost once, dude. And he's lost to a dude that was
a lot bigger.
A lot bigger, 2 weight classes above. You know what I mean? But I understand. Spence was too big. It was too strong. He didn't want to open up. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he felt all his power, dude. He's like, fuck, I don't want to get knocked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
Matthew Thompson's comment says it all. As long as he gets his Fruity Pebbles, Chavez Jr. is
so my list is like Chavez Jr., Francisco Bojado. Okay. What happened to Frankie Gomez? Remember him? I don't know what the fuck happened to that guy. And then Mike Jones. Like after he got knocked out by Bailey or whatever, that dude disappeared, bro. Everybody's like, who?
Yeah. I have to throw a couple out there. Ponchito Bajado, man, that's a name right there for sure that stands out.
Wow, yeah.
The dude had a lot of potential, man, and just never lived up to it. El Ferros, Fernando Vargas, another guy, but it really wasn't his fault, I guess, not fully. I feel like they threw him in there a little too early with some guys, you know. And
that's great fights, though.
Yeah, and that's a problem, man. And that's why I always try to tell people, like, look, what's the rush putting young guys in there right away with the top guys? You know, like let's learn from the past. You know, like he could have been a big star. He was already getting there. You know, and then he got beat a couple times, and then it just was all downhill from there. Another guy that comes to mind for me is, and I really thought this guy was going to be one of the best middleweights of all time, especially after I seen him win the title from Bernard Hopkins, and that's Jermaine Taylor, man. That guy looked like he was the goods, man. He was looking like he was the goods. He worked his way up to that fight. He became the undisputed champion, beat Hopkins twice after Hopkins looked like he was never going to lose. And then I don't know what the fuck happened after that, man. He just was not the same after that.
He wasn't the same, especially after Pavlik stopped him. He wasn't the same after that. And then, it looked like he was going to make a comeback, and then he got stopped against Frach. You know, I mean, he took a beating in that. That's a great fight, by the way. It's a badass fight. But
yeah,
I was going to say about Chavez Jr., man, I think he's probably the biggest disappointment of them all, right? And the reason for that is because, dude, you had one job, bro. He never had, a lot of boxers have to have that second job and to pay bills while they're climbing up the ranks, and they're having a hard time getting fights. Everything was handed to this kid. All you had to do was train and show up to fight. That's all you had to do, literally. Chavez Jr. didn't have to worry about anything else, dude. Nothing, right? He even had his dad watch film for him, right? His dad on 24/7 was watching all night, watching Martinez, dude. It wasn't even all night. It was all morning. This dude wakes up. That was the best part, bro. When his dad's like, "Mira, mijo, es porque cuando," and he cut off his dad. Yo ya sé.
Yeah. I think I remember that part. Didn't he take off his shirt and then jump in the swimming pool or something?
Yeah, he did.
Watching.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god,
dude. What about the other 24/7s where his dad's get down about training, and then they show him later in the episode where he's in somebody's backyard eating carne asada, and then they pulled out the pads, and he's like, "Hey, I'm working out," you know?
Oh, the people at the carne asada, sí, vámonos, tú estás chingón, vámonos. Come on, bro. His chauffeur waited outside the fucking gym.
I know, man.
It's because think about this. He grew up rich, right? I mean, his dad. Come on, he grew up rich, and usually rich kids, they don't have to work for nothing, dude. You know, I don't think his dad ever taught him to work for something. You know, he was always handed stuff to him, so he never learned what it's like to work for something. You know, so that's why he just never cared. He just got whatever he wanted all the time. That's why.
This is an easy answer here for this one. I mean, it's obvious why Mayweather kept these guys off his list, because they're better than him, just flat out. You know.
Yeah. Look, I remember
saying Andy Ruiz a disappointment. I mean, he just took one loss, man. He could, you know,
it was disappointing.
It was bad and disappointing, but he's got
the way I see it is I think we have to be honest with these fighters, man. That was disappointing. We got to let them know that. We can't tell it's okay. Yeah, you can do it next time. That's what happened with Chavez. You know what I mean? His
career's not over yet, right? His career's not over yet, so he still could be a champion again. You know, he's got 2 losses. He could have, if he would have trained. He has a disappointing fight, right? I don't think career yet, not yet. At least
that was a disappointing fight.
That Parker fight. I mean, I thought he won it. To be honest with you,
he did.
I thought he beat Parker too, man. Close
that
fight,
anywhere else except New Zealand, he wins that fight. You know what I mean?
Anywhere. Water says, if you're talking about wasted talent, look at Mikey Garcia. Oh, this will get you kind of happy.
Oh, man.
He was out because of his promotional issues, and he comes back. He wastes his comeback fighting Spence and retiring. It sure seems like it. I don't see that guy. I haven't heard anything since
Yeah,
Says
it's
it's
a
shame
shame.
for Richie Vargas.
I mean, he beat Vargas, right? And
Yeah.
Vargas is no slouch, dude. I'll tell you that.
That's
He's
what
not
I
an
try to
elite
tell
guy.
these guys, Raider. I
Oh,
try to
man.
tell these guys,
Don't
Raider. They don't
start,
want to
G
listen,
Funky.
bro.
No, but
You're gonna
hey,
trigger me, G
Vargas,
Funky. You gotta stop,
I'm
man. You're gonna
not
trigger
saying
me.
Vargas is a elite guy, like one of the top guys at 147, but he's definitely was in the top 10. A
It's a
top
good
10
win,
fighter.
man.
It's a very good win. It's a good win.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I think Vargas is going to be fighting at 154 now. So, I mean, for
Yeah.
Mikey to fucking beat this 154 guy, yeah.
Dude, guys,
We'll see.
how could we forget this guy right here?
I was
Oh
gonna
my
name
God,
that. Yeah.
right.
How could we forget this guy,
I
man?
thought about him, but I never thought he was going to be really good anyways.
Well, I mean, like
At what point,
yeah.
Raider? Like, was this before the Maidana fight, or when did you kind of think that he wasn't going to pan out?
Like right before the Floyd fight, I didn't think he had a chance to be Floyd. I was like, man, hell no, dude. Like this guy, nah, no
I
way.
didn't think he had a chance there either, but
Uh,
his career went so bad after that. I mean, then he's winning a fight against Josecito Lopez for a chance to fight Canelo, breaks his jaw, retires in that fight, and then that's it pretty much. You know?
yeah, well, remember he quit on that other fight too against Berto, the second
Berto
fight.
in the rematch. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That's when they're throwing pizzas at him, no, or something.
Yeah, they did afterwards. NBA take says who's winning the NBA fight. It's too early, man, to say. I heard that James Harden just got traded to the Nets, bro. He's over there with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. So I mean, if it works out, man, that's a tough team to beat, but it's got to work out. That's the thing, you know. Is there enough shots for those three guys? You know, that's the real question that Steve Nash is going to have to work out. You know what I'm saying? D-Style, you got to roll, man. So I guess
I gotta get going, brother. So shout out to everybody. I'm out, guys. See you tomorrow. Table. Peace.
Órale, sas.
Yeah, man. Let me switch the background here. We'll go a few more minutes, man. Because it's getting pretty late. I'm old, man. I don't know how old you are, Raider, but I'm an old man, bro. You know, I'm almost 40 and shit. So
I think I'm older than you. I'm gonna be 40 in a couple of weeks. 2 months.
All right.
Okay, yeah, you got me by a few years then, you know.
What about you, Chicano? How old are you?
36. I think I'm just about the right same age as G Funky and D-Style. I think we're all like 36.
Órale. Cool.
I'm trying to think, man, of
We
another
used to be the young
disappointing-
guys, but now we're like the old guys on YouTube. Like when some people talk about us, like, wow, I guess people are calling us old. This is weird.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think of another. I know there's quite a few that I know of from the past of disappointments.
You know who disappointed me was Zab Judah, man. When I was young, I thought Zab was cool. You know, I didn't really know much about boxing. I wasn't breaking it down like that. But it's just as far as his style and his attitude went, you know, I thought he had real potential in his hand speed, but he just never really panned out. You know, I mean, I guess he had a decent career. A lot of these guys did too. You know, don't get me wrong, but I thought he had a higher ceiling than that. You know.
Yeah. He was definitely good. I think Judah was good.
Yeah,
but I see what you mean. He had potential to be like a superstar too, you know. But
you know, one thing I had to say about Zab Judah. Hold on, let me grab it real quick because you know I remember his fight with Zoo. That was a big fight at the time that fight was getting ready to happen, and that was Zab Judah's like coming out party. I guess that's what it was set up to be, you know, and I remember thinking like, man, he's definitely got the hand speed. He's definitely got, you know, the legs, the boxing ability to beat Kasha Zhu stylistically, you know, but Zhu's got good timing, good jab. He's got a lot of power in that right hand. But I just remember this right here, man. And let me share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm seeing here. Because this right here, I remember him walking out to that fight, and I don't know about you guys, but I could see it in his face that there was definitely some fear walking into that. I mean, look at his face there, man. For at least for me, I mean, maybe I'm over analyzing the situation, but to me, you could see there's some fear there in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think? Am I tripping there or what? Look at him. You
know, you might be right. I can tell you this. I've been wrong before on reading body language, so I've kind of stopped doing it. But if I had to guess, I would say he looks a little nervous.
I remember
he
thinking
does. He does.
right away, man. Like, look at him, like, and like I said, I could have been overdoing it, but I really felt like, man, he looks a little bit of fear there, man. And that happens, man. He's going into the biggest fight of his career against a dangerous opponent in Kostya Tszyu. Didn't work out for him, but he's definitely a disappointment. Another guy I want to mention too that was disappointing, who I thought was going to be really, really good and was actually getting there, but he ran into a roadblock named Marco Antonio Barrera. Prince Nassim, man. I thought that dude was going to be somebody, man. I really did back in the day, man.
He was pretty big, actually. But, after the Barrera fight, he has tubo,
Yeah. He literally just went away. I think he had one more fight, and that was it.
se le acabó el corrido, como dicen por ahí.
Sí,
let me ask you guys a question, and be for real, okay? Here's my question. And we all didn't know each other back then. So let me ask you, how much potential did you think Arreola had? Did you think he had a shot of ever being a heavyweight champion?
Yeah, I think he did.
I did too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's from Riverside. I mean, I don't know him, but he definitely. I think he did have a chance, but I don't know. It's just I think his defense. He needed a little bit more defense. He was getting hit a lot. But he did have a chance. So.
Run BMC says Jay Nady was the MVP of that fight with Tszyu and Judah. Boy, he really took a lot of shit from Zab Judah that night, man. That was pretty funny. I got to admit.
He made the right call, though.
Yeah, you're right, Mad Dog H. Those big lights aren't easy to handle. Yeah,
true.
I mean, I don't know if like I said, I could be wrong, man, and I don't know. Maybe we could get Zab Judah on HCP one day, and I would really want to ask him that question. Hopefully, he doesn't take it as disrespect, but I swear, man, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I was looking and I was like, man, he doesn't look confident. He looks very nervous. I see a little fear in the eyes, But then he went into the first round. He looked fucking good. I think he actually stunned Tszyu with a nice left uppercut. But then the next round, he gets caught leaning back, and that was all she wrote.
Zab was good, man. I think he put up a good fight against Garcia. And he had some good later fights, man, where he didn't necessarily win and take it to the top. But, I mean, God, he had some natural skill, that's for sure.
Yeah, he knocked down Mayweather. You guys remember that in the second round of their fight? He hit him, and the glove hit the canvas. That's technically a knockdown. He also hurt him. He was getting off early, and that's been the record. I mean, the rap sheet on him is that
I think
early he gets off early, and then if you don't get you out of there before 6.
Oh yeah, he was doing good against Cotto until he got low blowed. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
yeah. What do you guys think about Canelo's defense now? Like,
I think it's good.
Dude, I think he's getting man. He's getting there like with Mayweather. I think he's gonna get better than Mayweather. Watch on his defense, because I don't even remember one time he's been fucking hit like flush hard, except that one Triple G fight, like in the 10th round, where he got hit, but he dodged like 8 punches right after that. He like slipped 8 punches, but that's it, And obviously that one where he got rocked with the fucking Cotto's brother, but that was like fucking how long ago was that?
Oh, he was just a kid then.
Yeah, exactly. And Mayweather's been rocked a grip of times, Mosley, Maidana,
Yeah.
I mean,
and I want to say this too. Now that you brought up Canelo, and this will be the last topic, guys, because it's getting kind of late for me. But I've heard, I believe it was Blue Blood who was on Punch Drunk's show, and we question Charlo, Jermall Charlo, that is. What has he done to earn a shot to get Canelo? I think it's a fair question. Now, his answer was, well, what did Canelo do to earn a shot to fight Mayweather? Now, look, I don't know how long you've been on YouTube, Raider or Chicano, but I've been on here a long time, man. I had a channel back in 2009. Then I switched to this channel that I'm at now, and I started making videos. But I'm going to tell you like this, man. Back then, and I made videos, and these videos are still up on my channel, and I leave them up for a reason, because we were all calling for him to fight. I remember I mentioned Vanis Martirosyan because he was another young guy around his same age. He hadn't took a loss at that time, hadn't been beat. Vanis Martirosyan, Austin Trout, who was the WBA champion, or Erislandy Lara. Those three guys. I wasn't even talking Mayweather at the time, you know? But those were the guys that everybody wanted him to fight back then at 154.
Hey, but that
And
was
he fought two of those guys. He fought two of those guys and beat them, you know?
That was an easy debunk. I don't know why Punch didn't tell him, or Punch
Yeah.
he was the unified 154-pound champion. What do you mean
Ranked number one?
What
He had the WBC and the WBA. He just beat Trout, who beat
Not only
Cotto.
that-
And you guys remember this, not to cut you off, Rita, but remember this. That Trout fight for Cotto was supposed to be a walk in the park. You're just supposed to take that belt off Trout and go in to fight Canelo next. Turns out Trout won that fight. And he fought him after. He could have said, nah, I'll fight Cotto instead, like Mayweather did with Judah. Remember, he lost to Baldomir and he fought Judah anyway? He could have done some shit like that, but no, he said, like, hey, the guy's got the belt. I'm going after the guy with the belt. And he became, like you said, he was the unified WBA and WBC champ back then.
Yeah, not only that, I believe, if I'm not wrong, he was on the top 10 pound for pound list. I think it was like at 8 or 9 or something like that. So if Canelo's a pound for pound champion and he's a unified 154 pound champion, how is that not deserving of a fight with Mayweather? But I think I put that in the chat that he was a unified champion. I don't know if he read it or not. Then he switched it up to, oh, well, what did Rocky Fielding do to deserve that Canelo fight? You know, like
nobody, and that's another thing that I can't stand. And I'll let you go right now, Chicano. But being in there with killer after killer after killer, per se, you know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't happen. That's never happened in boxing. You know, go ahead, Chicano.
No, I just want to point out that you're right, Raider. I mean, I've seen we were talking earlier about narratives coming from certain channels, and one of the narratives that I've seen is like people actively trying to discredit what Canelo did at 154. And I'm like, well, obviously either you weren't around at the time or you just don't know your boxing. And I've seen people also try to discredit what he's done at 160 when I don't really even understand it when people go, well, Canelo ain't done nothing. I'm like, dude, how do you even say that? Like, who are you comparing him to? You know what I'm saying? And it's just a shame that people actually listen to this stuff and believe it.
The thing that, dude, there's so many narratives, like you say. The one that I like is when they say, oh, Canelo picks and chooses who he wants to fight. He's strategic. He's not fighting the best fighters. I'm like, are you serious? Like, at 154, who was the best at that time? Austin Trout, Lara, and Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather. Canelo fought all those dudes. At 160, who was the top guys at 160? Triple G. Fought him twice. Daniel Jacobs. Right?
Yeah.
Those are the top dudes.
And Cotto was the Lenio.
Yeah. Kovalev at 170. Then he went to 175, right? At the time that he fought Kovalev, the fight was announced, Bodzik and Beterbiev have not fought yet.
Right.
They had not fought yet. So Kovalev was definitely a top 2 light heavyweight when the fight was announced. Then obviously the Bodzik and Beterbiev fight happened, and then Beterbiev won, and he was like the number 1, and Bethel was like the number 2. Then Kovalev, right? Yeah. But when the fight was announced, he was like a top 2. So there's that one. And then at 168, he just finished beating fucking Callum Smith, who arguably was the number 1 most proven fighter at 168. So I don't understand where all this is coming. They're probably hung up on the Khan fight and the Fielding fight, which is like 2 fights out of like 5 years, like 6 years.
Yeah, and I can understand the Fielding fight. You know, that's his first time at 168. You know, I get that. The Khan fight for me, I didn't like that fight at all, and I spoke out against that fight. I didn't think that fight was necessary at all. But it happened, and it is what it is. We can't change it. But I'm going to tell you like this, man. There's nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, that could tell me that those weren't the fights that they wanted Canelo to have at 154. Because I was here making videos That was the talk on YouTube with Canelo. We want to see him fight Martirosyan, Lara, or Trout. There wasn't even talk of Mayweather because Mayweather was still at 147 at the time. He decided to move up to fight Canelo, and it fought him at a catch weight. I spoke out against the catch weight too. My prediction video is still up. I spoke out against the catch weight. I'm not for catch weights. I don't like catch weights. So this shit about what did he do to deserve a fight? He did everything that we asked him to do to earn that fight. Period. And that's irrefutable. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let that slide with anybody.
Oh, yeah. And we all wanted the Triple G fight. We all wanted it. Nobody was saying, oh, he needs to fight Charlo. We were fucking salivating for that fight, and we felt like we were waiting for a while. But, I mean, it was 2 years. When you think about Spence and Crawford, we're waiting for more than 2.5 years now. Like, we got that fight within 2 years, so I think people need to keep things in perspective. Like, there have been bigger boogeymen historically. Like, Jamal Charlo is just another guy in line who hasn't done anything to be in front of the line.
Nobody was talking to Charlos at 154 at the time. Nobody. They might have been talking about them as prospects because that's what they were at the time. Don't let them fool you, man. They were prospects around that time, 2012, 2013.
Oh, yeah, fighting 6 and 8 rounders against nobodies, dude. Take a look, guys. It's all there.
But people will say this to me on Twitter. He ran from the Charlos at 154. Like, what are you talking about? Those guys weren't even at that point in their career yet to say that. And matter of fact, Lara trained with them. He was the best guy in the gym, and he fought the best guy in their gym. Now, again, I don't think he won that fight, but still, he got in there. He did what I wanted him to do, and he got in there and he fought him. What more can you ask? That's bullshit, man.
Raider, who do you think won the Canelo-Lara fight? Raider?
What are they, Raider? You there?
Oh man, I wanted him to be the tiebreaker. I guess not.
Oh, he dropped off, but he dropped off, but he's coming back in. I see him right here. We had him.
No, but dude. Oh.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there an echo?
Nah.
No, I don't hear an echo. No.
That's weird. I because I'm on my phone and I don't know how I dropped off. But, yeah, my bad. What was the the question?
Who'd you have in Canelo versus Lara winning?
Oh, I had that a close fight. I had a 7-5 Canelo. I know that Lara was jabbing and hitting Canelo a lot to the head, but I think Canelo hit Lara more to the body than Lara hit Canelo to the head. Canelo was just obliterating that body through the whole night. Since he couldn't catch him, he kept hitting the body, and that's how I had the fight 7-5. A close fight though.
Yeah.
I had it 8-4 at Islandi Lara. I felt like a lot of that body work that you mentioned, Raider, was not very effective. I felt a lot of those shots were landing on the elbows, landing on the hips, even landed a lot of shots on his ass and his back, which aren't scoring blows, but I get the idea. The guy's moving. You want to go to the body. You want to slow him down. And that's another argument that I make is that if those shots were landing clean, I feel like he would have slowed Lara down at some point, but that never happened in the fight. I felt like Lara controlled the ring. I felt like his defense was superb. He was making Canelo miss a lot of shots badly. Like that's one of those fights you go back, you'd never see Canelo miss shots like that on guys, but he was missing so badly. He's falling into the ropes and things like that. I felt like Lara should have got the decision, but it is what it is. But the point is this, man, he fought him, and that's exactly who we wanted him to fight. Guys like, let me tell you this, guys like Dante, okay, and this is a fact, was saying that he would never fight Lara. Never. And he did it. He said he might have, I don't even know if he said he would never fight Trout. But again, that's another guy that guys like Dante's Box Nation was, and he was Dante 5'6" at the time, was saying that he would never fight Trout. He don't want to fight any guys that are young that are his age. But he did it.
It's because these guys have narratives, dude, and it's blatantly fucking obvious. Like they don't have Canelo on their top 5 or the top 10 pound for pound, but they want to have like they have like
Shakur Stevenson.
He's judging Jamal Charlo. Like Jamal Charlo has had 6 fights at 160 pounds and has not fought one damn champion.
Right.
6 fights, dude. and he barely steps up and fights Derenchenko, right?
Yeah,
And then earlier I heard a narrative too that the Luke Campbell win for Ryan Garcia was they're not giving them that much credit.
yeah, that's sad.
And I'm like, wait a minute, but that was a step up fight for Ryan, right? And also they're like, oh, it's because Campbell's a loser. He's always lost in his big fights. I'm like, well, what about Derenchenko? Didn't he lose his fights? Jacobs, Triple G.
Yeah.
So
That's all his big fights. I mean, there's some people that say that they think he won, and that's, it's arguable. You can argue that, but he didn't get the win, And here's another thing that bothers me with Jermall Charlo.
Yeah.
Jermell, I have no criticism of him, man. He's doing the right thing in his division.
Oh, okay, what's that, man? Okay.
But I want to
let me close this out then.
I want to say this about Charlo is they act like the guy is avoided, right? I've heard this a lot. He's an avoided fighter. Yet the guy's avoided fights himself. They can say what they want, try to clean it up with the $15 million that his brother said was offered. He didn't take the fight. Not only that, there's video of Ness from the Boxing Voice. Shout out to the Boxing Voice, where he asked Jermell Charlo. He said, "Look, man, I know you want the Canelo fight, but that's not going to happen next. Why not go after Andrade for the belt?" He had a WBO belt, I think, or something, right? He said, "I don't want to fight." Flat out said it. I have no interest in fighting him. So you're an avoided guy, yet another champion in your division is willing to fight you, and you say no? That tells me that you're just that tells me that's bullshit. Whatever these guys are saying, he had an opportunity to beat another champion in his division, and he said no. I mean, what does that tell you? What do you think of that, Chicano?
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, and you could see him slipping and sliding with little questions. Like just recently, he was on his IG live, and he said, "Okay, well, let me clear the air about this whole Canelo thing." He said, "I was never sent a contract." It's like nobody ever said that you were sent a contract, dude. You were offered terms, and your people never let you hear about it. Or maybe you did hear about it, but you guys didn't respond. So nobody ever said, oh, a contract was sent. So, I mean, he's just trying to find these little ways to slide and just basically make an excuse for why he didn't take the Canelo fight. I mean, it's pretty clear.
And this is a great comment here by Matthew Thompson. In July 2014, Canelo fought Lara. Actually, in September, he fought him, yeah. And Jermall Charlo fought an 8-round bout against Humberto Gonzalez. That tells you all you need to know about Charlo at the time,
Yeah, it's because the way he's wording it, right, Mal? Oh, I never got sent a contract or whatever. Right. I'm like, first of all, you're not supposed to receive any, according to you, right? But it's called call out, right? So how are you gonna get a contract if you're telling everybody to call out? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And then another thing too is that when they told him, "Hey, how come you don't fight Andrade?" Oh, who's Andrade? He ain't done nothing. Who's he? Ain't nobody know him. And then 5 minutes later, in the same interview, they're talking about his opponent. He doesn't even know his name. He's like, "Oh yeah, what's his name? Yeah, he's a good fighter. This and that."
Oh yeah,
come on.
Yeah,
speaking of nobodies. I'll tell you, man, the Jermall Charlo fans, man, they sure do seem to respect Matt Korobov like he's some legit opponent. I've never seen Korobov get so much respect in the YTBC.
Yeah. Meanwhile, nobody ever knew about Korobov before that. You know what I mean? Until he almost beat Charlo, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, he's underrated," and this and that. I mean, he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, but still, come on, man. You some people let themselves, fucking pull the wool over their eyes.
Yeah.
Le tapan ojo al macho, como dicen por ahí.
Absolutely, man. I just want to say again, these narratives, crazy, man. Like Charlo was doing nothing at that point, literally nothing. So I'm not gonna let that slide. And again, I'm not gonna let that slide that he just said flat out said no to Demetrius Andrade.
Yeah, think about this. I'll put it like this, right? If Canelo would have stayed at 160, right, and he would have fought all the opponents that Charlo fought, all these non-champions, how much flack would they give Canelo?
Exactly.
Mata, no crucify him, you know?
Shit, could you imagine? I mean, look what they're doing now, man. He has the best resume in boxing
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
Pacquiao.
exactly. Look what they're doing now with the Callum Smith fight.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So it's hilarious. Like little by little, I've been recording like screen recording like some dude saying, "Oh yeah, Callum Smith's gonna beat the shit out of Canelo. Watch and this and that." And then the next day they do like a live, not a live, but they do a little video. Oh yeah, that was a cherry pick. That was I told you guys that was a cherry pick. I'm like, yeah, that shit makes my day, to be honest with you. You know, I
Yeah,
laugh,
you
I
gotta laugh
get
at
a
it,
cup
man.
of coffee.
At it.
It's like comedy, you know. It's like watching a good little movie, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly, man. But you know, we could again next week we could talk more about this type of stuff, man. Here on Uncensored, I want to thank my co-host D Style. He had to step out early. Raider, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. You know, we got that 20 on the line, so don't forget, baby. All right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hey, if you guys are gonna talk about that glove gate, I got some good stuff
Yeah,
on some
if he
receipts, man.
if he decides to come back on Wednesday, you know, we'll sit down and talk with him. I honestly,
I have. I'll tell you what. I have footage from the locker room that was actually on the fight where Wilder on that second fight. You know how they inspect the gloves, right? They inspect them. They're supposed to put them like in a case, and
yeah.
then they give them to you, right? And they open up. They're like sealed or whatever, and they
Mhm.
give them to you, whatever. And Wilder's the LDBC or whoever was saying, oh, you know what? JD's didn't inspect Tyson Fury's gloves. You know, they didn't. It passed them. You know, he didn't touch them. He didn't feel them. Well, on Wilder's side, there was nobody even from Tyson Fury's team there
Yeah, when they
when they put
FedEx
him on.
gloves in. Yeah,
When
the
they
FedEx those
FedEx the
gloves in.
gloves, exactly.
Mhm.
And then the Nevada State Athletic Commission, one of the guys was there, and he just grabs the glove, and he puts his hand inside and inspects it for like 3 seconds. Not even 3 seconds, like 2 seconds, and that's it. But nobody from Wilder's team was there. I mean, Fury's team was there.
Yeah, that's
So
very true, man.
they weren't really supposed to be FedEx anyways.
Yeah, I mean
They're
you know, I
supposed to be
know
signed. They're supposed to be the
yeah.
rules are they're supposed to be inspected. You get a primary, you get secondary gloves. Just in case
Yeah.
something happens to the primary gloves, the secondary gloves are there. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden these ones from FedEx came in. I don't know from what or where, but who knows?
No, that's a great point, Raider. And I know glove inspectors, but the thing is this: these guys don't trust the commission, but they trust the commission when it comes to that. You see, they're just very inconsistent with their arguments about it. But I've been waiting to talk with somebody like Max, who was on earlier, who could just sit down and speak with us. You know what I'm saying? And it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
And hopefully, he comes back, man. I really do. So we can talk about it.
Yeah, one more thing I'll let you guys know about that is you know how they say that the flappy hand or whatever. How does your wrist move like that? How does your wrist bend like that? Well, when you do push-ups, how does your wrist bend?
Exactly, man. Yeah, I mean, we all know that that gloves can bend. We've got a lot of footage of gloves going back that way. It's this Tyson Fury is not the only one, and the thing is this, man. Here's how you know that they don't really believe what they're pushing, because these guys, these big channels that push this stuff, they have a lot of contacts. They can get a hold of a lot of people. They can get a lot of people onto their shows, right? Not one time have they had a glove expert come on and have they asked him any questions about why Fury's gloves are doing this or doing that, what's in them, how they made, blah, blah, blah. Yet, guys that we mess with, like Dave from Leave It in the Ring, he had on Ernesto Gavion, who's the glove expert for Everlast, come on and explain everything about how the gloves are made soft so that they can parry shots and what's inside of them and things like that. Like, they don't want to hear from experts, man, because they know it won't end well for them, you know. But
yeah, the thing that kills me is that, like, you know, these channels, some of these channels, they lie to their own subscribers, dude.
mm-hmm.
You know, their own subscribers, they lie to them so they can just fucking donate money, dude. That's just that's foul, homies. And these guys are falling for it, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, Mad Dog, if you're still here, make sure you hit the bell notification and click all, and then you'll know every time I go live, man. Chicano Prophet, anything you want to say, man, before we close it out, bro?
Well, I just want to say congratulations on 500 subscribers, man. It's been fun, man. It's been cool just kind of, keeping track of things in real time with you and seeing where things are. And I think this is going to be a great year for boxing, man. And narratives, like Raider said, man, we should all just kind of laugh at them. Like, don't let them get to you. We should all be enjoying the sport, man, and looking forward to fights. I suggest that if you get all worked up about this kind of stuff, take a break, man. Like there's a lot to love about the sweet science, and don't let what people have to say online get to you.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, and congratulations on the 500 subscribers. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. All right, Chicano.
Peace.
Later,
Thanks,
guys.
Man. Appreciate it, bro. It's been a fun ride, that's for sure. And I continue to have keep this thing going, man. I really want to keep it going, and like I said, man, I don't go at narratives all the time, but sometimes things are just so outrageous that you got to say something about it. You just have to. And that's the way I felt about the situation that Dante's trying to put out there to his subscribers. But this was fun, man. I want to say again, thanks to everybody that showed up and to all my subscribers, man. Let's keep pushing this thing, man. HCP, the home of real boxing talk, G Funky Boxing for Chicano Profit. We are out, man. We'll see you on the next